This week, we review Netflix's Season 2 of Squid Game.
We dive into the best movies and TV series of 2024 and the most anticipated movies and TV series of 2025.
And we introduce the new format for the podcast. My name is Simon Eady.
And I'm Adrian Pinter.
Welcome to Split Focus, a film and TV podcast, episode 101. Adrian, we're back, baby. We're back. We're back in action. Episode 101 after a 3-year hiatus?
Mm-hmm.
2 years? I'm not sure.
Seems legit. Seems around that time frame.
But we decided to return. We decided to return to the podcasting game. Our focus is split. Just generally, we have full-time jobs, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like this is not a job for us. We're in it for the fun of it, for the catching up time type situation. Are you good?
Yeah, sorry. I was stretching and I hit my vacuum. I bought a new vacuum, Simon. I'm moving.
Oh,
I purchased a home, so I'm moving.
Yeah.
And I got a vacuum for that new home. We tested it out, though.
Excellent. Is it a good vacuum?
So far, so good. Yeah, it was on sale for $100 at Walmart. It's
what brand?
I mean, I forget.
Look, we don't have any marketing deals, so we can say
Bissell.
brands. Bissell. Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Power Groom.
Right.
Swivel Rewind Pet.
I appreciate that you're swiveling your chair back or your head back to the mic each time you say that. That's very professional considering we haven't done this in some time. The podcasting aspect. But here's what I'll say. Also, we're also recording this podcast video-wise. That's why I could see there that you looked back at your vacuum and almost fell down when you're stretching there. So we're recording this, but we're not actually launching the episodes as video recordings. We're just putting the audio portion of it and then doing a closer look review episodes where we will review things like Marvel movies or Squid Game as an example, and we'll put those as videos on YouTube. That's the plan anyway. It's exciting. I'm excited to be back. I'm happy to be back talking to you again. I feel like in our adult lives, we just kind of didn't talk as much in the 2 or 3 years since we did the 100th episode of Split Focus, a film and TV podcast. We talk. We went to a movie once a month, maybe
give or take,
maybe once every 2 months. Yeah, but it wasn't as frequent as before. And so, but yeah, that's basically it. Here's something I just discovered recently. Adrian, did you know that Jersey Mike's is down the street from my house?
They made another Jersey Mike's in
Yes,
Guelph?
There's one in Guelph. Yes.
No, dude. No way.
I thought I would get ahead of the idea that you're going to ask me what I ate for dinner. And so Jersey Mike's.
Nice.
So just in case you were going to ask, because you did that for at least 75 of the 100 episodes we ran of Split Focus, a film and TV podcast.
The number 9?
I did order the number 9. I ordered the giant number 9. The price has gone up. There were way too many staff members in the store at the time, like actually building the sandwiches. That was likely because they were training them. It was the dude from Kitchener. I'm pretty sure the manager training them, but they had I kid you not, 15 people behind the counter. And the lineup was out the door and it was pretty cold. We live in Canada here. And for context, I live in Guelph, Ontario. We both live in the Kitchener-Waterloo area in Ontario, Canada. And so I'm sure you'll be excited. Although you kind of live closer to the Kitchener store, probably. Although you are moving.
Correct. In less than 1 month, Simon, I will be a Guelph person.
Yeah. I thought you would know the Jersey Mike's thing. So I thought that wasn't going to even be news. But here you go. It's a little happy
arguably the most interesting news I've heard ever.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Anyway.
I love Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, me too. It's delicious. They slice the meat right there while they build your sandwich for you. Mm-hmm. It's excellent.
A little vinaigrette. Put it on the sandwich.
before we get into it, and before we get into our general or typical programming or planned scheduled programming or our kind of our outline here for the actual episode, I want to get into a few things. First of all, this is going to be a bi-weekly podcast now. We're not launching weekly anymore for anyone who's interested. And I'm really not going to market this. I don't care that much. I'm doing this for the fun of it, and I think you are too. I think the idea is to just catch up with a buddy. The idea is also to jump in for the idea of kind of more critical thinking and about movies and TV shows, and just jumping into a deeper way. When I go to the theater and watch a movie, like Heretic, as an example, we watched recently, we kind of caught up a little bit because we threw some text back and forth about what we thought about Heretic, the Hugh Grant starring A24 thriller film, horror thriller, I guess. And it was cool, but I kind of had this longing to actually discuss it in a deeper way and think about it in a deeper way. So that's kind of why I'm back into this. And there's the idea of creativity. I feel like it just kind of flexes my creativity of having a bi-weekly show every 2 weeks. I jump in and I can kind of edit a little bit the audio and the video, etc. I'm also not going to edit the audio too heavily this time. I feel like I put too much effort into it. If you watched or listened to our 100th episode, the one of you out there that's listening to this today, that episode, I did talk about how it became a little bit draining to work that heavily on this podcast. So the idea is, again, the focus on fun. And before I get to my last point, which I feel like completely is going to be more interesting to the audience listening to this podcast about why I'm doing this again, I want to ask you, Adrian, how did I convince you to do this again? Because you were resistant for a while, and I'm curious why you actually decided to jump into this and actually record a podcast with me once again.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's I think I did mention to you place and time sort of situation, a lot going on. Life-wise, things were really busy, looking for a home to
but
purchase.
Why did you decide to do it more so than why didn't you?
I want to say it's because I missed you, man. I missed you. I wanted more of an excuse to spend time with you, to discuss things we both love. And again, like as ridiculous as it is, the easiest way to do that is by literally scheduling it out and making something happen. Because adulthood is busy, man. Adulthood is very busy, and just needed it. Sorry, I'm fixing my headset here, Simon. I'm sure you could see me doing it.
Yeah, I love that you're describing it though, because again, this is an audio podcast. So well done. Again, professionalism. I appreciate that. There's one last point that I wanted to point out, and I think this actually leads into what our podcast is going to be like for those who are listening, who have not shut this podcast off, episode 101, after 7 minutes and change here. This, I think, it applies to everyone listening. The other reason I wanted to do this, although it's bi-weekly, and I know that's not consistent enough to really build an audience, I get it. Weekly podcasts are far more popular. There's a lot of reasons why bi-weekly is not a good idea. But again, our focus is split. We have full-time jobs. We have busy lives. We're adults and we're not making any money off this, and we don't plan to. So the idea here is it's just to build something again for fun, etc. But I will say this. There is one benefit to anyone listening to this podcast, I think, of what we bring to the table. And that is, Adrian, one word, nuance. I am tired. I am very tired of the internet. I got to tell you, it lacks nuance. It lacks gray. It is black and white across the board. There's people who have hyperbolic statements here, sensationalist statement there. They don't have any kind of in between. And the reason why that is, arguably, is because the internet doesn't fuel that type of behavior. Mm-hmm. The algorithm of YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, X, I'm giving you air quotes for that, because of why is it called X? But anyway, regardless of that, Threads or Instagram, they're all fueled by this concept of the most extreme idea. When you read comment sections, as an example, in below a video or wherever, you notice that it's just extreme comments. And especially, I listen to reviews about even just tech. And the tech reviewers are giving the most extreme hyperbolic statements just to get clicks, especially when it's a YouTube short or a TikTok, where they have such a short span of time to capture an audience. And man, not to knock Mr. Beast, but his screenshots, his specific like thumbnails are egregious. I gotta say, they make him look like sociopath. I don't know if that's just me, but it's extreme a little bit. I would like to think that we have opinions that are a bit more in the middle, and that we kind of give an idea that we're going to probably give things a more of a fair shake. And examples of this, because I've gone on for a little while now, would be a TV show like Star Wars The Acolyte. I have lots to say about Star Wars The Acolyte. I probably won't get to it today. Maybe it'll be another day. But I will say that I find it ridiculous how that show is treated. And I get why it was canceled. Not because it was bad, but because nobody gave it a fair shake. Because the opinions online were so hyperbolically negative that how could it survive? She-Hulk is another example of a show that gets really hyperbolically talked about. And I'm going to mention this before I throw the idea to you. This is a video game concept, not a video game that's being hyperbolically treated badly. So it's not a. I think you know where I'm going with this based on that. But the game I'm thinking about is Naughty Dog's next game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, which I know obviously is a video game, not a film or TV show, but
might be one day.
Exactly what I was thinking. And honestly, especially with the star power just in that trailer alone, and with Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross composing the music for the game, and composing the music for the trailer, it looks amazing. It looks incredible. And when I watched it, it was the first shown off. That trailer was first shown off during the Video Game Awards late last year in December. When I first saw the trailer, I thought, this looks incredible. It was Jeff Keighley who presented those awards. His one last thing moment. It was supposed to be his big splash. Canadian treasure, Jeff Keighley. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he did a great show. That Video Game Awards, speaking of things I've watched recently, which we're going to get to, that he did a great job. It's probably Jeff Keighley's best show ever. Personally, that's what I think anyway. But anyway, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, I went back to it a week after the Video Game Awards, after first seeing the trailer, and I discovered that it was ratioed, Adrian, that it was completely, the dislike ratio to likes is egregiously bad. And if you scroll down to down through the comments section, it's treated really badly. And it's crazy because it looks absolutely brilliant. But the reason why it's treated badly is because of this concept of wokeness and anti-woke nonsense, which I can't express enough. I just don't care about this. Our show will dive also not into politics very often unless it's completely related to the subject matter. We might talk about how stupid it is to be so anti-woke. But I find it ridiculous that the likes could be 200,000 as an example against, like the dislikes would be 200,000 against Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet's first trailer, and 100,000 for it. That is, to me, ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know if you have anything to say about this concept of us being nuanced, but I think you agree with me wholeheartedly that this might be something that we actually bring to the table, theoretically.
I hope so, Simon. I think, I know you. I know me. And I do agree that we do tackle things a little bit more nuanced. I think we're a little bit more open-minded about, different perspectives. And I tune out anytime someone says woke anything. I don't even know what the fuck that means anymore. It's like, oh my God, there's a woman. It's woke. It's lesbians woke. Black person woke. You don't even know what it is. And I it's honestly just frustrating to deal with. And I've been very much not going on the internet as much. You mentioned it previously, like earlier in this episode, that like you hate the internet. I try to stay off the internet realistically and not look into things that I actually care about or love, because it just drives me insane. My YouTube algorithm is cooking recipes. That's what I use YouTube for.
That's amazing.
Food. Cool. And then, the odd commentary videos about random dumb things. But yeah, I try to avoid all that stuff. And yeah, again, I think we can go into things with, more of an open mind and not be very hyperbolic. I'm confident, like, I'm sure we'll be hyperbolic about some things.
Oh,
Things slip through the
100%.
cracks.
We're human beings. And so to get
Yeah.
our points across, we're going to be sensationalist a little bit on occasion. I agree.
Mhm.
But when you compare it to what people are trying to do, they're feeding the algorithm. That's not,
Yeah.
we're not deliberately doing that at all. And I'm going to try my best to be as to remain as non-hyperbolic as possible. I think about how we had that conversation about Morbius on episode,
That was a bad movie.
I don't know, 80 or something. We didn't like that movie. And I feel like we still kind of gave it a fair shake. At least I felt like I gave it some positives. But I think back on it,
I don't think I did.
And think, could I have been more positive? Yeah, sure.
I'll be honest. I don't think I gave it any positivity. That movie was boring. It was a bad, boring movie.
Sure. And actually, another good example of actually a great example is when we reviewed Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And I think we leveled each other out a little bit. We balanced each other out, which was cool too. Which probably didn't help in our favor in terms of the YouTube algorithm. It's online right now if you want to check it out at Just Another Review, which is like the parent channel for this podcast. If you go to Just Another Review, you can find a review that's a video review, a closer look review of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I would have watched the movie first because in this case, that was a spoiler cast, basically.
Yeah,
but
you don't need to watch the movie, honestly.
But right, you didn't like it. I liked it. You kind of gave it some fair shakes because I kind of convinced you a little bit, and you kind of convinced me of how it was bad a little bit in the review. And I think it was a fair review. People don't like that movie largely, but I did, and so it was interesting. And so I think the promise is we're not going to clickbait as much as possible. I think that's the promise, and we're going to try to be nuanced, and we're not going to fuel this. This is not going to be fueled by some nonsense about politics. Left wing, right wing, I don't give a crap. You're wearing red or blue, orange in Canada. I don't care. I just don't care what political party you are. I'm sorry. Was Top Gun Maverick somehow Republican? No, I don't think so. I think it was just a great movie. That's all I'm going to say.
Arguably, Top Gun Maverick's a little bit woke because it's a little bit gay coded. Let's be real. It's a little bit.
Sure, but that's not how. But there's certain political parties who kind of attribute that movie to being their the movie for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say, and I just don't care about that. Whereas there's a lot of movies that are considered left wing. Like I just don't care though. Is it art? Yes. Is it maybe being egregious in a certain political way? Oh, maybe we'll point that out actually. But most of the time, it's not. And that's kind of where I'm at, if that makes sense.
It does to me, at least.
Excellent.
It does to me.
Well, we're 17 minutes in, so let's get to it. Adrian, let's get to the film and TV news, shall we?
We shall. Not.
So this is actually... No, don't do that.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, that was a dumb bit.
But here we go. This is basically a variation on what we used to call the Quibi, which we might just call it anyway in the end. But anyways, this is just the quick news bites over the last 2 weeks. Because again, this is a bi-weekly podcast. So it's not going to be over the last week, but over the last 2 weeks. And to get into that news over the last couple of weeks, I want to talk about the Golden Globes, Adrian. They aired on Sunday, January 5th. The Emmy award-winning FX series Shogun took home the award for Best Drama Series, while HBO's TV show Hacks took home the award for Best Musical or Comedy TV Series. On the film side, Netflix's movie, Emilia Perez, won the award for Best Motion Picture Comedy or Musical, while A24 movie The Brutalist took home the prize for Best Drama Motion Picture. Adrian, I don't know if you watched the Golden Globes or not, but it is interesting to take a look at what was awarded during award season, because it kind of dictates sometimes what might win awards, for instance, during the Oscars. So do you have any thoughts about this, these wins? And did anything win that you particularly liked this year? Or is there anything that stood out to you specifically in the Golden Globes?
Not off the top of my head, man. Honestly, I feel like I didn't watch like a crazy amount of the, wins, over the year. I'm sure there was a couple things. I literally just can't. I lost all of them, so I got to like open up a document and look at like the winners because I had a few in my mind. But yeah, like at least the ones that you posted here. I know Shogun is very well regarded. It's been on my list. A lot of people kind of equate it to like, hey, it's like a Japanese Game of Thrones sort of level, like political drama, hyper violent, very mature, all that sort of stuff. So that's been on my list for a while. Has a great cast. Anna Sawai, I believe I'm pronouncing her name right. She won Best Actress.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
right?
So just to give you some color, I guess, on this, specifically, Shogun won 4 awards. It won Best Actress in a Drama for Anna Sawai. Hiroyuki Sanada won for Best Actor in a Drama for Shogun. Best Supporting Actor went to Tadanobu Asano, who is also brilliant. I started the show, actually, so I'm not far enough to really give it a big review or anything like that, but I really like it so far, and I would agree. It is like Game of Thrones in a lot of ways. It feels like every episode seems to be almost like a feature film, which I really appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I mean, I don't know too much of what Anna Sawai has been. I think I've only seen her in Monarch.
Yeah.
The Legend of Godzilla or whatever it was called, the Apple TV Plus Godzilla show. Which was really good, and she was stellar in that. So I'm sure that this was well deserved and everything like that. And again, it's on my list. I haven't been watching as much TV on my own, so I'm trying to convince my fiance to watch it. But we've been kind of more on a lighthearted comedy kick, but not really actually when we get to like what we've watched. So I'll dive into that a little bit there. But you're enjoying it so far though?
It's great. I recommend it for sure. I just gotta keep getting through it. I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima as well, like another run through on the PS5 because I played it initially. It was initially a PlayStation 4 game, and so I've been replaying it on the PlayStation 5 because the sequel's coming out next year or this year. Sorry, I'm still living.
Oh
in
shit! Yeah, we're in 2025. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ghost of Yote is coming out in 2025, which I'm very excited about, and so I've just kind of been playing Ghost of Tsushima again, although it's an anthology series. It is kind of interesting to just kind of go back to it. So I am kind of, I don't know, I do that thing with the cross media. I don't know if you find yourself doing that as well, but this cross media thing is becoming more and more prevalent across video games. Books has always been a thing, but books, video games, movies, TV shows. Hideo Kojima loves to do that, or he wants to do that quite a bit. And Death Stranding is going to be an A24 movie, which is super exciting because A24 kills it every time. Death Stranding's a video game with Norman Reedus as the main star, completely mocapped, so you can see Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead, walking across giant landscapes as you do in that game.
Yeah.
So that's
I know Norman Reedus from his hit TV show Ride with Norman Reedus.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm sure you didn't see that, but I'm sure you saw the advertisements in Death Stranding for Ride with Norman Reedus, which is hilarious because the way they show it as well, there's strange. This is going to come off as strange to anyone who doesn't play video games or certainly didn't play Death Stranding. Kojima is an incredible creative force, but there's one part where Norman Reedus goes into the bathroom and he poops. We know he's pooping, but you know what I'm talking about? They show the clip of Ride with Norman Reedus, and they make a motorcycle sound, and it's like it's like he's pooping, but it's the motorcycle sound. I'm like, what a weird toilet humor joke to try to pull off. Anyway, the point I was making was I sometimes play video games that are related to the TV shows or movies I watch. In this case, I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima. I was also excited for Assassin's Creed Shadows, which comes out now in March, but it was supposed to come out in February. So I was trying to time Shogun with that as well. But I recommend Shogun quite a bit. It is like a full feature film. FX's Shogun, very good. Nice. But yeah, anything else stand out to you with the awards?
Yeah, I mean, there was I think Jeremy Allen White. He won for Best Actor for The Bear.
Yeah,
which
right.
Good for him. That show is phenomenal. Yeah. I really loved it.
I will say,
please.
I feel like season 3 is the weakest season.
I do agree. I think season 3 is the weakest, but it is still fantastic. There is the labor episode in particular.
Excellent.
That is like probably my favorite episode of the season. Added to the reason why I don't want children for sure. I don't want anyone to deal with a situation like that, but yeah, it's fantastic. Really loved that. And then the Penguin, it won for Best Anthology, did it not?
No,
it didn't.
No, actually, but I don't have it written here, so I have to look it up. Sorry, I got to look that up right now. Good question though.
Or was
It
it?
didn't win. You're talking about best limited series or movie, TV movie. Yeah, it
Yeah.
didn't.
Oh, that was Baby Reindeer, if I recall correctly.
Yes,
I think
correct.
Colin
Thank you.
Farrell won
He
Best
did,
Actor. Okay,
which
yeah.
is
So
well deserved. Baby Reindeer is the one. Yeah, I didn't write Baby Reindeer down, which is strange because I also say, did you see Baby Reindeer this year?
never watched it.
Also amazing, very
Mm.
good. I will say it's excellent. But yeah, that's what won best limited series on
Nice.
Netflix.
Okay.
That's worth
Yeah.
watching for sure. That's a wild tale. Let me tell you, that's a crazy tale.
Yeah, that seems interesting because I mean, it's not something that you really hear about because it's typically men being crazy stalkers and kidnapping women, right? And it's kind of like a
Sure.
gender swapped true story of that happening. So yeah, that's again on my list of something I'm gonna watch one day, but who knows if I'll ever get around to it. But yeah, the Penguin was phenomenal. Colin Farrell, 10 out of 10. I was sitting there watching that series, the all 10 episodes or however many episodes there are. And anytime he's on screen, I'm trying to see him. I'm trying to see Colin Farrell, and I cannot.
Yeah.
I cannot see him. I just see Oz Cobb, as they call him in the show. Oy.
Yeah, his name is Oswald, to be fair,
Oswald
but they
Cobb.
remove the "ul pot"
Yeah.
off the end of like the actual comic book character's name. They were trying to ground him because they thought Oswald and Cobblepot was a ridiculous name. Plus, he's not British. That's like a change up.
Mm-hmm.
Cobblepot's a pretty British name.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the hit TV series Gotham, he wasn't British.
He wasn't, but that show's not very good.
It's not. No.
They don't need to ground anything in that. But yeah, Lauren LaFranc, like the creator of that show, I'm really impressed with the Penguin, like overall. Like I'm hoping that I don't know. I wasn't sure what to expect with it because it had been a couple years since the Batman movie, which the Penguin show was based in, like in terms of the universe.
Yeah.
So it is very interesting. I'm very impressed. I'm very curious what Lauren LaFranc does next because it's really impressive. Did you also notice the composer for the Penguin by any chance?
No.
I had initially thought foolishly and naively that it was composed just like the Batman by Michael Giacchino, who composed the Batman and Lost. I love that soundtrack for Lost. That's crazy. And many other things. But it wasn't. And I kept looking at it says it in the title sequence at the end, but it says Mick Giacchino. And I'm like, what is he? Is he like jazzing up his name? That's what I thought he was doing. He was making it like a kind of a mob spin on his name or something like that. And I was like, what is this strange? No, it's his son, which is so cool. His son did the composition, like did the score for the Penguin, which I thought was
really
awesome.
cool.
But yeah, I had to look that up because they didn't know that. I just thought that was a fun fact to throw out there. But I was really impressed. That score was good too. It was great. The music was good. Like every episode had me on my toes. Like I was like, how is Oz Cobb going to get out of these situations every episode? I'm like, there's no way he's getting out of this. But I'm like, are they going to actually get rid of Oz Cobb? Like before the Batman 2 or whatever they call it, the Bat 2, the Bat Reeves-verse's second entry into the film verse. Yeah. That's a terrible way to say that. But regardless, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, any other note on the old Golden Globes?
No, that's really the main stuff that stuck out to me. Like I haven't seen The Brutalist. I think that just came out to theaters like near us. Like I think it had like a limited release. And I feel
did it? Is it in the Cineplex, like our local big chain?
I don't know. Cinemas? I feel like I saw it like an ad on Instagram. I was like, now playing.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. But I didn't check. You want me to check? I'll check it. I'll do it. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Okay.
Sounds good. While you look that up, I will also mention, and I have a tendency to talk about music and movies and TV shows. The best score was won by none other than, can you guess it? Can you guess it?
No.
I'm making you do two things at once. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross for The Challengers.
Oh my gosh.
I think is awesome because I think those guys are great. They might be my favorite composers. I'm not sure. I think Hans Zimmer is like got a special place in my heart. But like Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's scores, like I could work to that music and get a little bit depressed, but I'll like write some of the show as an example. They do such a good job in like Actually, The Killer. Did you watch The Killer on Netflix with Michael Fassbender last year? Oh, not last year, the year before. But it's excellent. They did the score for that. A lot of David Fincher's movies specifically, they did the score for. Yeah. Anyway, very good. Bird Box. Yeah. They did The Social Network. So good. Anyway,
The Brutalist isn't in theaters near us. It does say that it is released, but it's just not in theaters near us.
Is it at the local independent theater? Don't look it up now. We'll check it. We'll check later.
Fuck it. We'll do a live. No, I'm just kidding.
No. But yeah, that's it. But speaking of video games, Adrian, during CES, the Consumer Electronics Showcase in 2025, this year, early January, happened last week. Sony made multiple TV and film announcements. First off, they announced that hit PlayStation video game Ghost of Tsushima would be getting a Crunchyroll anime series adaptation called Ghost of Tsushima Legends. Secondly, they announced that their hit 2024 multiplayer video game Helldivers 2 would be getting a live-action film adaptation. And lastly, they announced that instead of developing a TV series for the very popular single-player action role-playing game Horizon Zero Dawn, they would instead be adapting the game into a live-action film. Adrian, we are both big PlayStation gamers. I ask you now, what do you think of this news?
Yeah, I think this is very neat. I mean, we can start with Horizon there. Horizon Zero Dawn is a very special game. I really love that game. I think it's a super unique story, and the way that entire first game specifically plays out is phenomenal. And just the kind of the premise where it's set, all of that is really cool and unique. And this robot dinosaur aesthetic is fantastic. And when this franchise was announced as a TV series on Netflix, if you remember, it was by Shane Black, the guy that did The Umbrella Academy.
Right.
I think he was coming out with a series, and then there's some shit that came out. Apparently he was not nice to people on set of The Umbrella Academy, and then I guess they took it away from him.
Yes.
Which was a bummer, but realistically, Horizon, I think you can do a lot with TV shows now, right? House of the Dragon looks freaking amazing. Game of Thrones looked awesome. I never watched the Lord of the Rings series, but I think you mentioned how great that series looks. And then, you can make a fantastical world look amazing on TV, but I feel like kind of condensing the Horizon story into 1.5, 2 hours, putting a larger budget into making those dinosaurs. They're honestly not even all dinosaurs, but these robotic creatures, to look amazingly lifelike is arguably the right call. I don't know if we need an 8-episode, 10-episode Horizon Zero Dawn series, where we're probably not going to get a crazy amount of these dinosaurs because it probably just costs too much for a TV budget. So I'm actually pretty happy about that decision of kind of switching to PlayStation Productions and focusing on a large scale movie that could eventually turn into a franchise and come out with Horizon Forbidden West or whatever they decide to call the movie version of it. I don't know if you agree with that. What's your mentality on it being a movie instead of a TV series?
I would agree with you. Actually, it's funny. I thought you were going to talk about, because there's a lot of talk when it was announced that they were making a TV series, that people thought that the budget would be ridiculous. So they should, or not that the budget would be ridiculous. Actually, they thought it wouldn't work as a live action property, but I just completely disagree. If you have the budget for it, the CG has gotten crazy nowadays. I think you can do it easily. The tricky thing is what you said, which is if you make that a TV series, how the heck do you fund that? Actually, a TV series that's kind of under fire for how much it costs lately is Severance. Did you hear about this? $20 million per episode? What the heck is that?
That's crazy, dude.
I know, because it's in an office.
It's just a bunch of white rooms and white walls. What the fuck?
I know. So also, I just want to correct you there because Shane Black is the director of The Nice Guys. I was just checking this because I was curious about what else he'd done, but I realized that Shane Black isn't the guy. I'm like, wait, The Nice Guys, that guy did The Umbrella Academy? It's Steve Blackman is the guy who was tapped to do the Zero Dawn series on Netflix, but then it got scrapped because of some kind of allegations. But yeah, I would have been curious to see what they would have done. Netflix has a lot of money. Typically, they spend a lot of money on their shows. Although lately, I think they're getting a little bit more budget conscious. I will say that. But regardless of that, it would have been nice to see what they might have done. because it's a long story. Games are so long form, but I feel like you could probably fit the story into a film. And I think the Zero Dawn, I would just say on like a blanket statement, the Zero Dawn plot is excellent. Horizon Zero Dawn is really great. It's a really interesting science fiction adventure game in a narrative sense. Like, it's very interesting, the mystery of why are these people using bow and arrow against giant robot dinosaurs or robot animals. It's strange. Like, you're just questioning that the whole time you play it, but they answer the question, which is really cool. And they get to the bottom of it, which I think is really awesome. And so I think it could be a really interesting movie and very interesting to people who don't play video games, in the same way that The Last of Us could be excellent on HBO. For those who don't know that exists, I feel like everyone knows that. But HBO's The Last of Us is excellent. And I don't think that they're very heavy on the PlayStation marketing on it, actually. They're kind of muted. But I think anyone could jump into that show and understand the plot. You definitely don't need to play the game, and that's the point. And you talked about that when we talked about The Last of Us, about you being very excited to see your parents watch it, to understand perhaps the artistry of video game plots in The Last of Us. But I would agree with you, I think, largely.
Yeah, I think that's exciting. And I mean, on top of that, I know they announced like the Helldivers 2 movie, which is weird that they specify that it's a Helldivers 2 movie.
It's weird in two ways for me, but yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, for those that don't know, Helldivers is a very just over the top, almost campy, like sci-fi video game. It's like co-op, very, again, you can kill your teammates by mistake, you're fighting bugs, all this sort of stuff.
For democracy!
Yeah, just very over the top. Freedom! Really dumb writing, but actually very smart writing in a dumb way that makes you laugh consistently. Like, I truly love it. So, like, them being like, oh, it's Helldivers 2, like, I wonder if they're just kind of doing it as a joke, but I think it's just because Helldivers 2 is in the zeitgeist right now. Everyone's playing the second one. People don't really know that, you know, the first one and the second one are essentially the same game. It's just kind of a different perspective, and the tone was the same regardless. There is definitely, I guess, more writing in Helldivers 2, but not that much. It's really just, you know, your character's yelling shit a lot of the time. So it is interesting that they specified that it's Helldivers 2, but I mean, I think I know what you want to say, Simon, because I haven't watched the movie that Helldivers is very similar to.
Right. So I agree with you. That was the first thing I was going to say was, you're right. Yeah. Like, what the heck? Why the 2? But that could be funny because no one knew about the game, the first game anyway. And people would come up to me all the time. Like, I work in a retail environment, and people would say to me, hey, Helldivers 1 exists. And it's like, I didn't even know it exists. I thought that's actually, they thought it was a joke. Because they just thought Helldivers 2 is the first one in the series, which is kind of funny. It's a kind of a funny way to maybe make a film entry. Wasn't there like a show from Freddie Wong on YouTube that he made this? Was it Freddie Wong? Somebody on YouTube made like a silly, campy TV series, like a comedy series. High School? No, it wasn't that. There was another. They made like a movie series, and maybe it wasn't Freddie Wong, but they made like a movie series that was really stupid. It was like really campy and comedy, but they started with the second one or the third one. It was like something 3. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's that slasher comedy movie,
right?
Dude Bro Party Massacre 3.
Right, it started with 3.
Yes, dude, I love Dude Bro Party Massacre. That movie's fucking hilarious.
Oh, you do? Okay, I never saw it actually, but I just know of starting it with 3. I thought that was ridiculous and stupid and funny. But anyway. The thing I was going to say was, don't we already have like Helldivers at home kind of thing? Is that the reference? Starship Troopers already exists. Why would you make a Helldivers movie? Because it's based very loosely on Starship Troopers, which, by the way, is Columbia Pictures, which Sony owns. So they could make another Starship Troopers movie. But a lot of the Starship Troopers movies, other than the first one, not necessarily great. I will say that. From my understanding, I've seen the first one. I think it's pretty funny and definitely worth the watch. Is that what you thought I was going to say?
That was my assumption. When did Starship Troopers come out? Was it in the 90s?
It was good question. I think it was 80 or 70. Let me see. Starship Troopers.
Because the book's really old. Because it's based on
The book, from my understanding, is a little bit more serious, a little bit more. No, you're correct completely. It is 1997. I don't know why I thought it was the 80s. But anyway, yeah. So 1997. It is definitely worth the watch. It's hilarious. And it's got the very similar vibes. That's why it's kind of fun to play Helldivers in a strange way, because that vibe is very fun. But you're just dropped on this planet. You're fighting these giant bugs that you have no business defeating. I talked to somebody recently who said that they knew more about the book, and they said that the people in the actual characters in the book Starship Troopers are very similar to the characters in Helldivers, and that they can actually fight the bugs. Okay. The people in the Starship Troopers just get completely wrecked. They land on the planets and they just get destroyed every time, and they're all in this gung ho like they got like I don't know, blinders on their eyes, like, oh man, for our country. It's the same thing. It's a very, very similar vibe. So I'm curious what they'll do differently in a movie versus Starship Troopers. But I guess we'll see. The last thing to mention, Adrian, though, Ghost of Tsushima anime. I know you love watching anime. Are you excited for this? Ghost of Tsushima Legends is the name of the multiplayer portion of Ghost of Tsushima.
It is. It's very interesting because they're still coming out with the Ghost of Tsushima movie with Chad Stahelski, the John Wick guy.
Right. Yeah. He's directing it.
Yeah. So I'm very excited for that movie, and like with Chad Stahelski being connected to it, I'm sold. I think that movie's going to be fucking great, probably, at least action wise. I think it's going to look phenomenal. So this anime series is based on the Ghost of Tsushima Legends multiplayer game that they came out with. That was a little bit more fantastical. There was, spirits and stuff like kind of showing up, way more. There wasn't much of a story, interestingly enough, but it was, far more fantastical. Witches, ghosts, other things of that nature, more magical power stuff. So I think that kind of actually lends itself a little bit better to an anime series, making it kind of over the top. I can see them kind of doing almost a, Netflix Castlevania style, like art style, to make it look very, mature, adult. Cyberpunk Edgerunners, again, different animation style, but they could do something along those lines as well. Again, another very mature adult animated series. So I hope that's kind of the route they take with this. But again, in regards to like a story, like I have no idea like what it's going to be story wise. So that's almost kind of just as exciting, that we don't really know how it's going to play out. Like other than it being based on this IP, I don't know what tale it's going to tell, Right. So yeah. I'm definitely intrigued. And I know you mentioned that I love watching anime. I'm not super huge into anime. I do watch quite a bit of anime, I love my, I don't know. Well, I don't want to be, like labeled it. Like I'm not sitting there watching fucking My Hero Academia or these like popular anime shows. I'm maybe watching one anime a year, hopping in, but I play a lot of like Japanese role playing games. My Personas. I'm playing Persona 3 Reload right now. Very Japanese, very anime. But it's a video game. So like when I sit down and watch something. However, funnily enough, I am making my way through Jujutsu Kaisen, which is an anime series. I don't really like it. But my coworker says that it gets really good. So I'm just kind of forcing myself watching it. I'm like 10 episodes in though, and I do not like it. But I'm going to keep watching it, maybe.
I thought you were going to say, I'm making my way through One Piece. I'm on episode 1100.
Ooh, maybe one day I'll watch One Piece, but I don't know. I did love the live action One Piece show. That was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But what do you are you excited about this Ghost of Tsushima Legends anime? You're not much of an anime guy.
No, I loved. To be fair, Cyberpunk Edgerunners got me back into Cyberpunk again. I love Cyberpunk 2077, the video game by CD Projekt Red, with starring Keanu Reeves. I think that is a great game, and I think that Edgerunners, I feel like, was also really, really good. It's told a really cool, pretty much complete story, so you don't have to worry about trying to watch 15 seasons or 1,200 episodes, which I appreciate. I think Legends, I don't know if they said this, but I feel like it's going to lend itself quite a bit to being an anthology series, much like Ghost of Tsushima is going to be in the game universe. And I'm very curious now that we know for sure that the Ghost series by Sucker Punch Game Studios, I wonder if the movie by Chad Stahelski will also be just a random story in that universe and not follow the protagonist of Ghost of Tsushima, Jin Sakai? Like, is it called Ghost of Tsushima, or are they going to, when they actually do the marketing, call it Ghost of somewhere else in Japan type of situation? I'm curious about that. I don't know. I'm going to guess that they're going to probably just do Jin Sakai's story, who's the star of Ghost of Tsushima, but it will be interesting to see what they end up doing, because it is an anthology series now, which not everybody anticipated.
Yeah, I think for marketing purposes, they'll probably just do Jin Sakai's story. However, like, I don't know, like, I think the story is arguably the worst part about Ghost of Tsushima. I think how beautiful that game looks, the action, the combat, exploration is what makes it a stellar game. The story, I don't really remember it that much. I just
honestly, I kind of felt the same a little bit too, jumping into it again. But in the middle of that story, it gets crazy, and it really is gripping. I actually am surprised how crazy it gets, and the relationship Jin Sakai has with his uncle and how that plays out. It's pretty compelling, actually. I would kind of agree with you if I was in your shoes now, having played it like 4 years ago. I might have said the same thing, but jumping back into it, I kind of almost forgot how well it's told. I do find it is quite good. I am interested to see what people think if the movie comes off well. Hopefully Chad Stahelski does a good job. His movies aren't always super plot heavy. I will say that. They can be complex on a lore perspective, but I feel like the John Wick series and the Chad Stahelski, was he the one to do Bullet Train, or was that David Leitch? I get those guys confused because was it?
I'm pretty sure it was David Leitch.
Chad Stahelski was mostly wrapped up in John Wick. Is that correct?
Correct. It was David Leitch, because they did the first one together, if I recall correctly, right?
I really liked Bullet Train, by the way. I thought that Brad Pitt movie's fantastic. I thought the whole cast was pretty. It's just it's a fun, like, weird, like, dramedy action movie.
Yeah. Bad Bunny. Hit guy. Bad Bunny.
He's in it too. I forgot about that.
I never even heard a single song of his. I honestly, I didn't know who he is, but apparently he's very popular. So, but yeah, that is a good movie. Karen Fukuhara, she's in it. She's really good.
Yeah, that's good. But yep, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, Adrian. Okay, the last news item on the list here. Back in October, it was announced that the next big Tom Holland starring Spider-Man movie would be released after Avengers Doomsday on July 24th, 2026. More recently, though, Andrew Garfield told GQ UK that despite the rumors suggesting differently, he was not in fact cast in Spider-Man 4. I didn't see any of the rumors suggesting differently. I admit. I did not. And I looked for them, and I never found a source that was really very, reputable. I might have missed it, but I don't know if you saw this news and what you thought about it. I am very excited about the next Tom Holland starring Spider-Man movie, because there's just been a lot of Spider-Verse movies released that haven't been good or haven't been great. To be fair and nuanced, I haven't seen the last two movies. Spider-Woman. What was it called? Sorry. Madame Web. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't watch that either.
Madame Web and Kraven the Hunter. Did you call it just Kraven or Kraven the Hunter? I don't know.
I think they called it Kraven the Hunter.
The reviews are dipping.
Oh, and
every
Venom
single
3.
movie.
Did you watch Venom 3?
Oh, the last three movies. I didn't see Venom 3 either.
Me neither, yeah. So.
Yeah. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I guess on the topic of those Sony Pictures Spider-Man movies, those are done. I think they're aren't they nixing that universe entirely?
Speaking of Bad Bunny.
Yeah. Oh, remember? Yeah, because he was going to do the El Muerte movie. Am I wrong? Is it El Muerte? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Yeah, because there's so much going on there. I haven't watched the last, I guess, 3 movies in that universe. I don't really care about it, and I don't think they're going to continue it. But
it's El Muerto, actually.
El Muerto. Okay, good to know. But I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I love the 3 Spider-Man movies. I feel like there's a lot of revisionist history with the last Spider-Man movie. No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home? Is that the third one? Where I feel like when that movie came out, everyone was super hot on it, very high on it. And then as time went on, people started saying that it's not that great of a movie.
What?
And yeah, like I heard that online. And I just... one of the reasons why I don't go online as much as anymore. But I feel like I've heard that quite consistently going forward, and people will be like, "Yeah, it's not as good." And in my opinion, that movie's awesome. Like, and I understand, it is a big like fan. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh my god,
Fan service.
That is, yeah, that's what I
Fan
was looking for.
servicey.
Yeah, and I understand that, but it's just a brilliant movie. It's emotional, it's heartfelt, great action, great characters. So I'm very excited to see where they go with this. I hope they keep it grounded. I hope they don't. I hope they do it more of like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, like he's just kind of going around the streets of New York. I doubt that's what's going to happen. I don't think you can really go smaller, but I hope they do. Especially considering it's coming out after Avengers Doomsday and before Avengers, the other Avengers movie, Secret Wars.
Yeah, what is that? They keep changing the names. Is it still Secret Wars?
I don't know.
Because
it was, I thought they just changed Avengers because it was Kang Dynasty, and then they changed that to Doomsday, right? And then it's like Secret Wars.
I'm looking it up right now. Next,
I feel like I'm right, but I might be wrong.
Avengers movies titles. I don't know. Oh, that's funny. It came up with Kang Dynasty. Thank you, Google.
Yeah,
Google AI, folks.
Google Gemini. It's great.
Doomsday, and then not named.
Oh
no, maybe it is named it. Maybe they named it that.
Secret Wars or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. This year is going to be very interesting for Marvel, actually. I'm kind of excited because they've got a lot on the slate. Like Fantastic Four is supposed to come out July 25th of this year. Mm-hmm. And before that, we've got Thunderbolts and Captain America, A Brave New World.
Yeah. Oh, and all also coming Daredevil. Out before,
right, as a show.
Yeah.
And Ironheart as well. But Daredevil I'm super excited for. I don't see where
that show's out in like 2 months. I hope we get a trailer soon.
Yeah, Doomsday's first. It's supposed to be 2026. Currently, the premiere date is May 1st, 2026.
Okay.
Spider-Man 4 is July 24th, 2026. Then there's a Vision Quest series, arguably starring Vision, I assume. And then in 2027, May 7th, 2027, we have Secret Wars. And I believe both of these Avengers movies are directed by the Russo brothers. They pulled out all the stops because of the strange, rocky couple of years the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been having. There's a lot of people out there, and again, in a very hyperbolic way, saying that it's all bad post Avengers Endgame, but I wholeheartedly disagree. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is excellent. I think they're best, and James Gunn's best MCU movie.
Mm-hmm. Not Spider-Man No Way Home
in general.
Yeah.
Right.
That was after Endgame. Black Panther 2.
That's true.
However,
I thought it was better
than
the first Black Panther.
It is a movie I never want to watch again, though. That movie's sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad. Great movie. Definitely better than the first. But yeah, I never want to watch that movie again.
But when I tell people that I think it's better than the first, they look at me with weird eyes. Like, really? Are you sure? Black Panther 1 was nominated for Best Picture. And then I say, yes, but it's Iron Man 1 again.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, it's good. But should it have been nominated for Best Picture? I don't think so,
probably
is
not,
what
no.
I say. Yeah, but I do think the second one is better. It's a more interesting and different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the slate, basically. And then there's the Blade movie, which is coming out in... I have no idea.
That movie's not coming
Who knows when they'll nail that down. It's weird. They have Mahershala Ali attached. Do you think you'd be in good shape?
You get to it.
I guess not.
But no, I don't think they care about it anymore. They've gone through like 5 directors, like 17 writers. I'm being hyperbolic, but I feel like there's just been so much turnover in that movie. That movie, I feel like, was supposed to come out like a couple years ago. So it is. I mean, hell, like I guess, like Blade technically shows up in a post-credit scene for a Marvel movie, just his voice, like Mahershala Ali's voice. But like, I think they were prepared to kind of pull the trigger and get this movie going, but it hasn't come.
Not Endgame, sorry.
Eternals.
Yeah.
Where he's like, hey, Jon Snow.
Right.
Kit Harington. Like, I'm in this corner that you can't see me, but you can hear my voice. I'm Mahershala Ali here.
Right.
I won for the movie Moonlight.
Yeah. He's great. He's great.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I really like him as an actor. He's fantastic.
He's really good in Luke Cage as well, actually.
Yeah.
Speaking of Marvel. But yeah. Mm-hmm. He's good in everything, honestly. Mm-hmm. He's really good in Green Book. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. But do you believe Andrew Garfield here?
Right. That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you think he's lying? I don't know. I would like to see it to be grounded, actually. So I don't want to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield return in this one again. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think Andrew Garfield is not going to be in Spider-Man 4, but he is going to be in one of the Avengers movies, probably the Secret Wars one.
Oh, maybe that's the casting. If there was an actual report that was legitimate, maybe that's where the rumors come from.
Mm-hmm. That's my assumption. And what I'm hoping is that, Tom Holland, his Spider-Man, he's not in Avengers Doomsday. They're doing the Avengers Doomsday stuff. And then we have the movie Spider-Man. I'm just in this neighborhood doing my Spider-Man stuff. And then they'll probably do like an after credit scene, be like, oh my God, it's the Secret Wars. I got to be there. And then he goes there.
Right. I think the next movie also potentially will, honestly, I think it will introduce Miles Morales. That's what I think will happen as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's my hot take for the episode.
He was teased in the first one because Donald Glover's character is his uncle. He's the Prowler.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I think they're going to do it because I think Tom Holland, I don't think he's tired of it yet. He once said that he would never stop being Spider-Man. So I am curious to see what that would be. But after No Way Home, he kind of had as long as it's good, as long as it's still great. Maybe because he saw the Spider-Verse movies coming out and said, oh, that Morbius definitely Morbius on screen there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's worth it. But
yeah. Didn't he recently also say, like, if he has a kid, he's going to quit acting? Like, he's going to retire? Like, as soon as he has a kid? I feel like I read that.
Did he say that? Didn't they just get engaged? Zendaya and Tom Holland, they just got engaged, didn't they?
Oh, good for them. That's so nice.
It's a rumor. Look, I don't know.
Oh.
I'm not.
Well, if they did, shout out to those two if they are engaged. But yeah, I think he said something along the lines of if he has a kid, he's going to retire from acting.
Completely. I didn't see that. That's a little interesting. Huh. Okay. Did Zendaya also do the same?
I don't know. I never spoke with her. So
well, I don't know if you saw that in the interview. That's all I'm asking. You have the hot goss here. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Well, Adrian, that is it for the news. The quick news, the quick bite news. Quick bite meaning Quibi. Let's move on to what we've been watching this week or the last 2 weeks, roughly, with some change, I suppose, because we haven't done this for a couple years. Mm-hmm. But I want to send it to you first because, just because.
Okay.
Because I've done too much talking. That's why.
Yeah. Hey, shut up, man. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm doing that. I think you should leave bit.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Dylan's Burger. Dylan?
Yes.
I'm gonna eat the whole thing. Classic. But I've been on an Apple TV kick recently, Simon. Apple TV, arguably the best streaming service out there. I would make an argument for right now.
Whoa.
They got arguably the best TV series on the television right now. At least they had the best first season, and I cannot wait for season 2. But so been watching quite a bit of stuff on there. And I'll start with actually the worst thing that I've watched on Apple TV up until this point. And it is the TV series Platonic, starring Rose Byrne and Seth Rogen. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, Simon, but the premise is, Rose Byrne, she's happily married, has her kids, lives her, mundane life. And Seth Rogen, he runs a pub, essentially. He's a brewmaster, and him and his wife have a divorce. And Rose Byrne and Seth Rogen were really good friends back in the day, but they kind of lost touch. Rose Byrne didn't like his now ex-wife, told him that, and he kind of cut her off. And goes through the divorce, and then she kind of reaches out to him. They rekindle their friendship, and it is interesting series because it's essentially like a Seth Rogen movie. I mean, Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne have done multiple movies together, like Neighbors and all of that stuff, so they have great chemistry. But it's like one of those Judd Apatow movies, whatever, that have been extended for 8 to 10 episodes. I can't remember the amount of episodes that are in the series. And I typically like Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne as actors. I like their movies typically. But this series I did not like as a whole. It was interesting enough to, keep my focus throughout the entire series. There's quite a few good jokes. But the one thing I realized, and I think, it's maybe because I came off of genuinely top tier television series, is just like back to back to back to back, where I jumped into this series and the characters are simply not likable. You don't want to root for Seth Rogen. You don't want to root for Rose Byrne. They're kind of shitty people, all things considered, and they make each other worse. And the show tries to set up these situations where essentially the friends will call them out on their bullshit, or they'll be in very uncomfortable situations and kind of like, oh no, like, why is this happening to me? But consistently throughout the entire series, I'm actually rooting against these two because they are putting themselves in these shitty situations constantly. And they are being bad people. And the people around them are suffering because of it. But somehow they are up on this pedestal. And I guess the way the show is done is that, like, the viewer, us, and for whatever reason, the characters in the show have to kind of bend at the whim of these two characters. And we need to support them because they're the main characters. But in reality, they suck. And I found myself kind of frustrated and annoyed more than I was laughing by the end of the series. And I don't think the characters really have much growth. Whereas, I can sit down for an hour and a half comedy movie where, okay, cool, these are shitty characters and, they'll have growth by the end of the movie. But this is 10 hours of content where these two characters learn nothing, arguably. Seth Rogen's character gets some growth, but Rose Byrne's character genuinely gets worse by the end of the series. But for whatever reason, as a viewer, like, we got to vote for, like, be on her side. When I think she kind of sucks and doesn't treat her husband well, and her husband's a great guy, and like she has the audacity to kind of be mean to him, or he does like one thing wrong, and it's like it justifies all her past behaviors throughout the 7 episodes that we just watched, because he did this one little thing bad, and now he's the bad guy in this couple's dynamic, even though for the last 7 episodes she's just been doing shitty things and not treating him well. So I found myself again, mostly frustrated with this, and it's not a series I would honestly recommend to anyone, arguably. And it kind of shocked me because looking online, it's very well reviewed.
Yes.
The audience score is very high.
Yes. And the Rotten Tomatoes, like, the critics score is high too.
Yeah.
I was just looking at it because I couldn't remember what it was. So while you were talking, I was just typing away here.
Yeah, it's like above an 80. Like
93.
93, shit. So yeah, like it is rated well. And again, the budget is there. It feels like a movie. You're watching these episodes and it feels high quality, like a comedy movie, which Apple does masterfully in all of their series.
That's what they just excel at. It's crazy. Their production values are crazy. I don't know. I wonder if that's something that's going to give. You know what I mean? I wonder if that's going to end, because I think the streaming wars are kind of leveling off. And we're seeing, I think Wall Street isn't really so gung-ho about the idea of just subscriber numbers without the consequences of not making a profit. I think growth is great for subscriber numbers, but I think making a profit overall is becoming now, over the last like 18 months to 2 years, I think Netflix and all the others are kind of knowing that they kind of have to make money, which I find it strange. They didn't realize that, but a lot of their budgets have been dropping and a lot of things have been canceled. And Apple's one of the few that hasn't really canceled too much. But I saw something recently that said that after they saw what Severance cost, or something along the lines of, maybe it was like 2 different line items, like Severance cost $20 million per episode, about $200 million for the second season, which is wild. It's a lot of money. And then on top of that, Apple realizes that they need to cut their budgets a bit. Maybe related or unrelated to that, but probably related. But interesting you didn't like it. It's 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. I did not watch it. I watched the trailer, and then I didn't jump into the actual show. But
yeah,
that's cool.
there's another like Seth Rogen joint coming out in the coming months with like Catherine O'Hara and stuff like that. I forget what the name is. It's essentially him running like a studio, like a movie studio. That looks really good. Like I'll probably dive into that. And I think that is actually at least made or like Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen are like some of the writers on it. Whereas with Platonic, they weren't like they weren't the creator of that show. Creators of that show. Whereas I think for this one, I think it's, what is it called? The Studio or some shit like that? I don't know.
Good guess. Yeah. It's called The Studio.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. It's Evan Goldberg is a director on it. Interestingly.
Okay.
Which is cool. I don't know if Evan Goldberg has directed a lot or has just been a writer, but that's really cool. Either way.
And like those two, I think as creatives are awesome. Like they're doing the Invincible series. They did Preacher, if I recall correctly, which I don't think ended particularly well, but it was still pretty good. They've done a lot, right? So that series I'm into. But yeah, Platonic, just not for me. Don't recommend it. Maybe if you're in the mood for something, if you got not much better to do, sure. But I genuinely just don't think it's that great.
I really love 50/50 actually, as I'm looking through their catalog here. But yeah, this looks like one of the first like noted big studio things that Evan Goldberg directed, but I could be wrong just based on scrolling through here. That's interesting.
Yeah,
that could be interesting. I love Catherine O'Hara as well, so the studio could be good. Yeah,
she's going to be in The Last of Us Part 2, or season 2 as well. Funnily enough, which comes out
Catherine
the month
O'Hara,
after, because the studio is March, right? And then Last of Us is April.
Cool. Yeah. Interesting indeed. Okay, I'll go next if you want. Actually, or you could just finish what you've been watching. What else have you watched?
Well, the other thing, I guess, on the topic of Apple TV is, I've watched quite a bit there, but one that stood out to me specifically that I think is just phenomenal, just a phenomenal piece of television. It's heartfelt. It's hilarious. It just understands the balance of sadness and laughter and happiness and everything so well, with arguably Harrison Ford's greatest performance of his life is the
Peanuts.
TV series.
Oh,
yeah.
Charlie Brown's Christmas.
Exactly. No, it's the TV series Shrinking on Apple TV again, made by Jason Segel, Brett Goldstein, and there's one other guy who I don't think is actually in the show. I forget the guy's name. Are you looking it up? Look at this guy.
I can. I'm prepared. I'm prepared for our next 100 episodes.
Amazing. Look at this guy. He's ready to roll.
It's crazy to think that. So we did 100 episodes, right? And we did 52 episodes in a year, but this will be 26 episodes. It seems like such a small number, but it's reasonable because, again, it's important to keep ourselves managed in terms of sustainability. But I'm looking it up here. You're looking for the other creator?
Yeah, there's one.
Are you talking about Bill Lawrence?
Yes, Bill Lawrence.
Well, who did you say already?
Brett Goldstein, Jason Segel, and
oh, Jason Segel. Yeah, right. Yeah, Bill Lawrence is Scrubs, and of course Ted Lasso.
Oh, okay.
That they teamed up, right? Goldstein and Bill Lawrence teamed up again. That's why it's very akin. If you've watched Ted Lasso, there's a lot of that same kind of wholesome humor, I would say, in this show, Shrinking, as there is in Ted Lasso.
Yeah, I agree. I'm actually rewatching Ted Lasso, funnily enough. I'm showing it to my fiance. She's never watched it. But yeah, Shrinking is just, it's spectacular. Like, it is so well done with such an eclectic cast of characters that play off one another so well. It's, the premise, funnily enough, a lot of these Apple TV Plus shows are like sad dad sort of things, like either going through a divorce or they lost their wife. And Shrinking is, about, Jason Segel. He's a therapist. He lost his wife about a year prior to the show starting due to a drunk driver killing her in a car accident. And him kind of figuring out, like, they had a daughter together, and him trying to figure out like how he can balance work, raising his daughter, and honestly just dealing with his own grief. And he's just been on like a really shitty bender since his wife died, essentially, buying prostitutes, doing drugs, all of this stuff while still working and neglecting his daughter. So the setup of the TV series is him trying to rebuild his relationship with his daughter while like his old friends and neighbors and colleagues are around him, calling him out on a lot of his shit. And it sounds like a sad show. It sounds like something that would seem depressing when you play it out like that, but it really isn't. It's very wholesome and heartfelt and funny. And the first episode is him deciding like, I got to be a better dad and I got to do things differently at my therapy job. And he realizes like, instead of doing therapy the regular way, listening to people's problems and kind of hinting, he's just going to be way more direct and telling people
and
like
arguably unprofessional, but
very much so. Yeah, very much so. And telling people like, one of the characters, she's been in like an emotionally abusive relationship with her boyfriend or husband for many years, and he's been listening to it. And then one day he's like, no, you just gotta fucking leave your husband or I'm gonna quit being your therapist. So essentially setting ultimatum. So again, very unprofessional, but it leads to some great character interactions. And Harrison Ford's I guess his boss and runs like the therapist house, whatever it's called, therapy lounge, the therapy place where people go to therapists, therapy doctor's office, and him essentially like giving Jason Segel advice. And again, Harrison Ford's performance is just phenomenal, man. It's this dry humor consistently. So timing is unmatched. Just the way he deals with these situations.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's so good. It's crazy because he's not obviously in that many comedies. This is obviously a sitcom, I guess. It's a comedy for sure.
Yeah.
And his chemistry with every character is so good. It's crazy how much I laugh out loud for this show, like during the show, because I don't laugh out loud very often. I find when I'm watching any comedy, I love comedy shows and I just don't laugh out loud. But you're right, his dry humor. If you ever watched Harrison Ford in an interview, it's like that times 100, I guess. I don't know. It's excellent. I would completely agree with you. I also would like to compliment you on how you threaded the needle in terms of spoilers. We don't spoil anything on Spill Focus, a film and TV podcast. We will do that on the Closer Look episodes. And pretty much what you said is exactly what was in the first trailer for season 1. So I otherwise I would have stopped you there. So I appreciate you not spoiling anything, although it is a comedy, so there's not as much to spoil necessarily. But I do appreciate that. But Shrinking is top tier TV, I think, is what you told me when you texted me a couple weeks ago when you finished season 2. I am halfway through or 3/4 through Shrinking season 2. I watched season 1 way back a year ago, and I was very excited for season 2, and it's just as good as ever, if not better than the first season. It is very good. Yeah,
I think it is better. I think there's an addition of one character specifically that I did not expect to see in this series, and the way that arc plays out is really great. It's it's engaging. I want to see more of it. I love this show with a passion, man. Like it's just so good. Like it is just so good.
You know who also is good in it?
Whomst? Ted
McGinley, who plays Derek. I think this guy is just, man, where's he been? He's he's a really well-written character in general. Derek lives next door. He's the next door neighbor to Jimmy, played by Jason Segel.
Yeah.
And Ted McGinley does a great job, man. Killing it. Just absolutely killing it. I love it. I just got past a Skittles scene. And again, another Harrison Ford just banger of a comedy sequence. I really love it. It's just great. Yeah. It's great. It's great. I'm so curious to see how this show, where it goes from here, I suppose. But I haven't finished season 2, so I should hold my breath for that.
Yeah. Let me know when you're done, and I'm very curious to hear what you think. We can take it offline so we can talk spoilers. Not
right.
Not spoil anything for anyone. But yeah, it's really good. And again, it's one of those shows that it makes you tear up. I teared up multiple times.
Oh yeah.
I cried multiple times throughout that, those 2 seasons. And it is I guess Bill Lawrence is really a master at it, because he does the same thing in Ted Lasso. I just watched, again, I don't want to spoil it, but we're halfway through season 2 of Ted Lasso. and there's just a part where Ted is talking to his therapist over the phone, just calls her, and like that scene in particular is such a tearjerker, and just like
So good.
You're laughing 1 minute and then crying the next, and then laughing another
Unreal.
minute later, and it's I love my favorite thing about watching things or playing things is when it gives a very specific emotion that in your regular daily life maybe you're not going to experience. Like I don't experience sadness every day. I laugh probably every day, but like not in that way where I can be laughing in like 1 second and then again crying the next, and like thinking deeply another minute. So I think TV series that can get that out of me, that can get a tear to roll down my face, almost immediately becomes like a top tier television series for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, that's it. I would also point that out. The fact that they can go from a laugh to a cry in like a matter of an episode or a matter of 5 minutes, it's pretty impressive. I was thinking about that with Ted Danson's new show. I don't know if you watched the Netflix series. Did you watch that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Man on the Inside?
Man on the Inside.
Yeah.
That's Michael Schur's thing too. Michael Schur is able to do that. And Michael Schur has that. The guy just doesn't miss, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's his show. And he's The Office and Parks and Recreation and A Good Place
Brooklyn
as well.
Nine-Nine.
Like, he's just a great TV series creator, and he's very reliable. A lot of people thought that Greg Daniels, I think, was the secret sauce potentially for The Office, but I really think it's Michael Schur. As proven by the fact that Space Force isn't particularly amazing. Not to knock Greg Daniels. I'm sure he's got something great coming on the horizon, but I do think that Michael Schur is killing it. But yeah, that show, similar. You laugh 1 second and then
yeah, I not to get too off topic, but I feel like A Man on the Inside is like shrinking is what I kind of wanted tonally for A Man on the Inside to hit. And like going from, because I think I watched A Man on the Inside maybe a few weeks before I watched Shrinking.
Right.
And going into Shrink, like I finished Man on the Inside, I'm like, this is good. I had a couple of like tear-jerking moments, but as a whole, I don't think it is nearly as well balanced as Shrinking is. I would argue A Man on the Inside is almost too sad. Like it's more sad than funny a lot of the time.
Okay.
And it like I don't think he found that right balance. Whereas I think The Good Place is a premium example. I think that's his best show by a mile. Like where he figured it out. It's not an episodic show. It's a serial. And he understood how to make someone laugh and then how to make someone cry. And I almost feel like he lost it with A Man on the Inside. I liked it, but I don't think it nailed it like Shrinking did. Whereas I think one thing that Shrinking does phenomenally as well is that every character is flawed yet amazing, and you love them regardless. Like Liz, I think, is a standout character. Derek's her husband, and just like their relationship, but just how Liz acts. She's overbearing, over the top, but deep inside, like she cares. She's like this rich white lady, but she knows how like what she is. But she's a sweetheart and cares about people and loves people so much. So you fall in love with her, right? Like no character is perfect. And I feel like A Man on the Inside didn't hit that. There are characters where I just simply did not like. They did not find the balance of like, okay, this character's flawed, but they have redeeming qualities. This character is simply just flawed and not good.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
Sweet. Sounds good.
Very
Is
sweet.
that's all you've watched or not?
Well, there's one more thing, but I think you watched it as well. So like, do you have anything else to say about Shogun, or are you done talking about that?
Shogun, I think I said what I had to say earlier, but yeah, I wrote down Shogun as one of the shows that I had seen. I just didn't want to I didn't realize I was going to talk about it earlier. So we can both talk now about Squid Game season 2, which I think we've got a pretty good chunk of the episode dedicated to a review for Squid Game. So it should be interesting. Of course, no spoilers for this, but we also are going to do a spoiler and non-spoiler kind of episode, and a closer look episode, we call it, on the YouTube channel, Just Another Review. So that's going to come as well. But unrelated to that, let's get into it on the Squid Game season 2 review, Adrian. What did you think of Squid Game Season 2? Or, as affectionately called in the actual episodes, Squid Game 2?
2, the sequel.
Which I don't know if that's a translation thing, because I'm using subtitles, to be fair. I don't know that. I will say, if just to preface the conversation, if you have a choice to watch this in dub or sub, please do not watch this with with dubs.
Yeah.
Watch it with subtitles, because subtitles, it just makes more sense. The acting in the dub, I don't even understand. I don't know. The tone is different. I think maybe I didn't watch enough of the dubbed version. But if you watch the English dubbed version of the English actors dubbing over the actors from Korea, it's just not satisfying. So I'll just say that. But anyway, what did you think of Squid Game Season 2 as a whole? Just to give us kind of your high level thoughts here.
As a whole, I thought it was really good.
Yes?
I thought it was fantastic. I genuinely loved Squid Game Season 2. I don't necessarily think it reached the highs of the first season, because I think the first season was so fresh. It's new. It's something unique, kind of on the edge of your seat the entire time, from episode 1 till the last episode. Whereas I think Squid Game 2, arguably, in my opinion, I think it falters. I think the first episode in particular is quite slow. It's a slow burn. It's a setup episode, kind of filling in the time gap, because it's a pretty substantial jump between the first season and the second season. I think it's 3 years. So the amount of time it took them to release the fucking show, from the first season. And I think, they had a lot of things to set up and fill in the gaps for, and I just don't think it was done particularly well. I didn't love it. I found myself almost a little bored at times, which there's still highlights in it. I don't want to say it was a bad episode, but I was worried when I watched it. I was like, oh no, am I not going to love it? And then I think the second episode as well is fairly slow. Same sort of thing. I think the second episode's actually a little worse than the first. But once they kind of find their stride by episode, 3 and then 4, 5, 6, 7, I think, from that point on, it's stellar. I was on the edge of my seat. I binge watched those last 5 episodes, back to back to back to back, because it was during my holiday break, and I was like, I got the time. I'm gonna fucking sit here and watch this show, because it's so gripping, and it's still it's familiar, because again, we had the first season, and they're I don't want to say it's following a similar thing, but again, there's more games. They're dealing with people dying, playing these Korean kids games that we never played here in Canada, and getting fucking shot in the head. So that initial shock value that we saw in the first season wasn't there, but I think the additions to the story, what they decided to do in Squid Game 2 was brilliant. And I never expected the story to go the way it did when it started playing out, from essentially, I think it's the end of episode 3 on, where they reveal where what this season's almost going to be about. And I fell in love with it again. I love the new cast of characters. Just as gut-wrenching when you're seeing some of your favorite characters get their fucking heads blown off again, or getting stabbed, bleeding out on the ground. We're like, oh man, I got kind of attached to this character. And I think what Squid Game does very well is that, getting you attached to characters quickly and then, tearing them away from you. But what I guess from your perspective, what did you think? Do you think it's better than the first season? What was your thoughts on the season as a whole?
No, I don't think it's better than the first season. Did you? Sorry, did you say that?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I think the first season is better.
Yeah, I thought I maybe missed that. The first season's better. I think I would agree that the first couple episodes are slower. I'm not sure that's a negative. I will say that I really appreciated the way that they were able to get back into the games again.
Mm-hmm.
The games aspect. The games aspect of Squid Game, if you're not aware of Squid Game as a whole, is, I don't know how much you went into this just now. I don't think you did. I'm trying
no,
to think. I'm reading my notes and listening to
didn't.
you, so I'm wondering if my notes are saying what you said or not. But regardless of that, the premise of the game is that people in South Korea who have serious amounts of debt, these people come around and they get you to play a game that I'm also not familiar with. And I don't think you have to win it necessarily, but if you can convince them that you're eligible, you will basically go to the Squid Game, and they'll put you on a I guess they'll drug you and then take you to the games. You wake up there, you're wearing a specific jumpsuit with a number on it, and then you play these children's games, and you potentially die. And if you potentially lose, sorry, and if you lose, you die, and then your number fills money into a giant vat, basically, because there's 456 people. So each person that dies fills in, I can't remember the exact amount of money, but it's in Canadian dollars, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's 10 million won, I think, per
person dying. Right.
Yeah.
Which converts, like, when you get into like 456 million.
It's 4.56 billion won is like the potential winnings.
It's a lot of money in US dollars or Canadian dollars. Regardless of that, that's the initial premise of the first season. And then we get to the second season, and we are somehow convinced, based on the trailer, that we're going to see the games somehow happen again, which is strange, but it makes sense just based on the first season. So I was wondering how they're going to do that. And that's kind of the big question that I had. Could they do it realistically, or was this going to be a Tiger King season 2 situation? I don't know if you watched Tiger King season 2. Tiger King was a huge documentary during COVID. It was huge in 2020. Or is it 2021? No, it was 2020. It was really, really popular. And then I watched season 2 thinking it would potentially be just as good. It was nowhere close. It couldn't be. How could it be? They spent years building Tiger King season 1. So season 2 couldn't possibly have the shocker reveals that season 1 had. And I was wondering how could they possibly get back to the games? The games are interesting in this show because they root the show in like a format that you kind of rely on as the audience. And then around around each game, they give you this character development that they spot in, and they spend so much time with each character, and you feel really, as you mentioned, emotionally attached to each character. So when they potentially die, you feel really bad and really sad about it. And that's the mastery of the show, and that's the mastery in the show in season 1. I feel like they just doubled down on the season 2 as well. They just give you these characters. They really make you feel for them, and then they kill them potentially. And I think that's the best aspect of the show. I love how they pulled in. Actually, I kind of liked the parts in season 1 and 2 where they could kind of explain to you what the world is like around the games. Potentially, that is kind of a neat idea. But there are some elements of the whole series of the 7 episodes that I found kind of dived a little bit too much into plot convenience. And this is the thing that I want to get into when we talk on the A Closer Look, just on the spoiler aspect. That's kind of where I found it somewhat annoying. I wish I don't know, there's certain things that it got a little bit too much railroaded in certain directions that I feel like characters wouldn't have done certain things. There's some crazy, zany actions that happen throughout the show, really starting in episode 1 or 2. There's a sequence where I'm like, I don't think these characters would do this shit. I just don't think they would do it. And then by the end, the same thing. At the very last episode, I found that certain characters made decisions that I was not necessarily convinced of. But to be honest, there's clearly more to go. Season 3 is happening in 2025. And the way they ended it off, I feel like I should trust perhaps the creator, Hwang Dong-hyuk, a little bit more. I feel like I could kind of give him some trust. And there's actually a show I'm going to talk about a little later in this episode of our podcast, of the regular podcast, in which I talk about that specifically. There's one show in which I didn't give the creator trust because this person hadn't earned it. And then I was proven completely wrong about where the show would go. Completely different series, not related. It's on Disney Plus. But anyway, point to be made later. Regardless of that, I'll say that the acting, once again, by Lee Jung-jae, very good, incredible. He plays player 456.
Ji-hoon.
Excellent. Ji-eun, Sung Ji-eun. And then also we had Lee Byung-hun, who plays Young Il. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I'm probably butchering these names, to be honest. That's
Definitely, yeah.
It makes me feel like the first time when we reviewed season 1 on the first 100 episodes of Split Focus, we really butchered all the names. But I apologize in advance. But the last thing I'll say, and this is an interesting thing, I feel like, and I don't think I mentioned this when I reviewed season 1, but it is the same feeling I should have had. Squid Game is just Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory for adults. There's my hot take.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not too familiar with Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but
did you see it?
Not the original.
Not the Johnny Depp one.
I probably watched only the Johnny Depp one when I was young.
Oh no, the Gene Wilder one, the better of the two, for sure. I didn't realize this before.
Ticket,
right? But they all get a ticket. Yeah. Right, they get a ticket. They get a golden ticket, and they go to this magical land of children's games. Basically, I mean, they're in like they see like a chocolate river. They don't do that in Squid Game, but there's like the people keep getting eliminated throughout the games, and they keep getting eliminated throughout like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The other movie that you watched, I guess, was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Actually, so it's even a different name.
Oh, but, okay.
Regardless of that, I did make that connection. Like when I was writing up the podcast, some of the format, I was like, "Whoa!" I didn't even realize this. The connections between them. And I have even more connections that I can talk about a little bit more in depth as we get into spoilers. But I found that really crazy that it's kind of more similar than I thought. But then maybe there's no point in talking about them to you because you've not seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is worth seeing, by the way. I very much recommend it. But yeah, the last thing I'll say is I kind of dig the allegory of life for the poor being this illusion of choice. It's kind of a cool idea. And I feel like they dived into it even more in the first couple episodes of season 2, but they dive into it arguably in a big way throughout the 2 seasons. It's a kind of a big concept that they amplify in both seasons. I thought that it's pretty neat. It's very grim. That's for sure. And it's very sad. But there's this moment in I think it's season 2, episode 1, I think, or episode 2, where one character is giving somebody or multiple people a choice. And there's that moment I'm like, wow, that's really dark and interesting. It's curious. It's very cool. I like the show quite a bit. I don't think it's as good as the first season, but how could it have been? But I'm surprised that they could get it to be this good. I just think the plot convenience was a little bit too contrived. It just felt a little bit too much for my tastes, and I hope that they can bring it all home with season 3. That's kind of where I would leave my opinion on it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm curious what you have to say.
Cool. Do you have anything else to say about the?
No, I think that's really the main stuff about the show. Like I think it's. I mean, yeah, I want to double down on what you said. Like, don't watch this in dubbed. Like, I saw my mom and my sister watching the show in dubbed, and it's atrocious. It's shockingly bad. I don't know why you'd put yourself through something like that as a human being. Why you would do this to yourself unless you don't know how to read.
Yeah.
In which case, learn to read.
Yeah, that's true.
I just feel like you should. But yeah, and
wait, are you saying your family doesn't know how to read?
Yeah, that's exactly
if
what
you
I'm
make
saying.
The connection between what you said.
They don't know how to read, yeah. Yeah,
no.
they can't read properly.
That's not true.
And a quick correction, it's actually 45.6 billion won. So it's 100 million won per person that dies, not 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what? So, I kept converting the numbers.
It's 31 million USD.
It's a lot.
This is from actually Netflix's website directly.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
They translated it for them, for everyone right away.
Yeah.
That's neat. Yeah. Definitely don't do dub. That's the moral of the story, if anything.
Yeah.
The other thing I kind of had as a note here, but I feel like I kind of said it, and I think you did too a little bit. The character development was really cool, but there's this idea as well with watching season 1 and season 2, and I felt it a lot in season 2. Is there's this underdog story quite a bit. There's who's going to win, who's going to lose, and you're rooting for all these characters. It felt like a movie like Rocky or The Fighter or even like The Dark Knight Rises in some way. Like you feel like you're rooting for these characters to win. And when they get knocked down, they're these clearly the underdog because these games are terribly rigged against the players. It's the whole premise. So that's really a beautiful thing about them too. And again, that structure of the following the games, I feel like it comforts me when I watch them in a huge way. And then when there's something shocking that happens, that's when I get tense. And like, it's just a really cool concept for a show. It's kind of like watching the best reality show ever in a weird way. And that's really what season 1 was about. And then this season's even got more political intrigue and like spy shit type situation, which is interesting too, which I appreciate too. So it's cool. I do like it. I'm impressed that they were able to bring this one home is what I would say. Like get 7 episodes in and make it cohesive, considering the first season could have just ended and it would have been
definitely
fine.
Yeah. Apart from that last like scene that they added into it, I feel like you literally could have ended it.
Right.
But yeah, this is most definitely like we're going to get a season 3. And I think, I mean, again, I don't think this is really a spoiler. I think one of the reasons why season 1 is better than season 2 is because it feels more complete. Whereas season 2 very much is, this story's not done, and it kind of ends in a way where it's like, okay, cool, like where's this going to go next, sort of thing. So, but I really loved it. I can't recommend the show enough. Learn to read if you don't know how. Make sure you watch the subbed and kind of go from there. And and just a quick aside, you said like the best reality, like this, it's kind of like watching the best reality show ever.
Oh no. What are you going to say?
Not as good as Vanderpump Rules, okay?
Oh, God damn it. I was hoping you were going to say a different... Come on.
Not as good as Vanderpump Rules. That's arguably the greatest TV series of all time.
What the hell?
Real. Oh, my God. You don't even know, man.
And we just lost the last viewer that was listening. Anyway.
Dude, season 10 and 11 of Vanderpump Rules? Oh, my God, dude. Unbelievable.
Come on.
Some of the best TV I've ever watched in my life.
All right, man. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Adrian. Now on to the montage, a sequence of our show in which I briefly present 7 of the week's smaller news stories as Adrian delivers a brisk verdict. Number 1. Squid Game will end after its 2025 releasing Season 3, but creator Hwang Dong-hyuk has ideas for spin-offs, according to his recent interview with publication The Hollywood Reporter.
Oh, interesting. I thought he didn't want to do Squid Game anymore once he was done. I feel like he talked about how he hated his life making the show, but that's exciting, sure.
Number 2. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie franchise has officially sprinted past $1 billion in revenue at the worldwide box office with its very popular trilogy of movies. Paramount is so happy with the results that they have already greenlit an upcoming 4th movie.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I'm not autistic enough to love Sonic, but yeah, maybe one day.
Whoa. Number 3. Announced in a recent trailer, it was revealed that HBO's The Last of Us Season 2 would launch in April of 2025.
Heck yeah, I'm very excited. Can't wait to go golfing.
Number 4. As revealed by director Kevin Williamson on social media, Scream 7 has officially begun production, with a planned February 27th, 2026 release date still in the cards.
I hope this one's good. I mean, after everything that went down with this 7th movie, I hope it's good.
Number 5. Apple is offering Season 1 of its hit TV series Severance for free on the Roku channel up until January 19th in order to promote this incredible Ben Stiller-directed office drama for its January 17th Season 2 launch date.
Whoa! Watch it. Do it. It's free.
Number 6. As reported by online publication The Insnider, Game of Thrones The Hound actor Rory McCann has been cast into late actor Ray Stevenson's role of the Dark Jedi Balin Skull in Season 2 of the Disney Plus Star Wars TV series Ahsoka.
Yeah, I don't really give a fuck about this one, I'll be honest with you. I don't really care.
Number 7, as announced by Universal Pictures, the much-anticipated animated sequel Shrek 5 has been pushed back to a new December 23rd, 2026 release date from its old July 1st, 2026 date, while Minions 3 has been swapped into Shrek's old July 1st, 2026 release date from its previous June 2027 release date. In 2026, the Shrek franchise will be celebrating its 25th anniversary.
Amazing. That's so exciting. If it's anywhere near as good as Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, I'll be there day one.
Indeed. And that concludes the montage. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
That was good.
Adrian, ooh, we're in it. We're in it now. We did the montage in episode 101. I feel like we're cooking. We're cooking with gas, as a white dad would say. So now, Adrian, to the topic of the show for episode 101. A topic which concerns the best movies and TV shows of 2024 and the most anticipated TV series and movies of 2025. This is essentially 3 picks from each of us. I picked 3 of my best, the most interested I've been in movies and TV shows. I don't know. That's a really, really weird way to say that. The shows and movies I really liked this past year. And I also picked 3 movies that I'm very excited, and TV shows that I'm very excited for in 2025. You did the same. We're going to present them kind of going back and forth. We don't know each other's picks, which makes it interesting because I'm super curious what you're going to pick. This segment of our show now is a bit different than we did previously. For anyone, the one viewer, maybe Kenneth Stadelbauer that's watching this, or your mom, which I think is pretty sad to say out loud, but I'm happy that she's watching it. In terms of the viewers watching this, if you've watched this before, this normally was a segment of our show that was the main story, like a kind of a big tentpole story potentially that happened in the previous week. But why aren't we doing that? Because doesn't make a lot of sense. We're doing bi-weekly episodes, so it's kind of a cool idea just to pick a kind of a blanket topic that we can just talk about for a time and then kind of move on. So that's kind of what we're doing now for topic of the show. But regardless of that, let's begin. Best movies and TV shows of 2024 and most anticipated of 2025. Adrian, I will let you go first. What is your first pick, my friend?
For sure, Simon. For sure. I don't know if I'm cutting in and out for you, but you're cutting in and out for me quite a bit. So
the old internet. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I do want to say that. So
you're cutting in and out for me too. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know whose internet is at fault or if it's Zencastr's servers, but alas, you are good now.
Yeah.
Are you good? Am I good now?
Okay. No, you're frozen in time. I can hear you, but you're frozen in time.
Oh no.
So.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. We'll go. Hopefully this is all good.
So, I'm going to mark this as a footnote in my notes here as Frozen 2. The last
sounds
Frozen.
Good. Perfect. Cool. So if I heard you correctly, we're going to start with the best movies and TV that we watched in 2024 and kind of go back and forth, 3 choices. So I'm going to start off.
Did you say movies and TV shows? Movies and TV.
Yeah, movies and TV. I
don't know if you said
thought
that
it at least. I don't know if I said it, but I definitely thought it.
You might have said it. I was taking a note here. Sorry.
No worries. Don't even fret. Don't even fret. So I mean, I already talked about some of the things that I really loved of last year. Brought it up earlier in the show, but one thing that I didn't mention that I think is arguably the best show that I watched in 2024. Some of the best TV I've seen, arguably ever. You can make an argument for.
Wow.
Was Arcane season 2.
Right.
It is a masterpiece of TV, of animated television specifically. The animation style is absolutely gorgeous in both season 1 and season 2. And, I rewatched season 1 leading up to season 2, made my fiance watch it. She loved it as well. And, this series being, based upon characters of a video game that I never really got into, League of Legends.
Which is lore heavy, but not necessarily narrative heavy, which is interesting, I think.
Yeah, definitely. They made something genuinely phenomenal out of that lore, out of those characters. They created new characters and I think some of the characters are being brought into the games, and it is just a beautiful 2-season arc, with again the most gorgeous animation I've ever seen in a TV show. It was really awesome to read. Not necessarily awesome that this show it cost over $250 million to make. Crazy expensive. Unbelievable.
Strange.
Yeah, but it makes sense when you look at it because it is, again, just gorgeous. It is so high quality. The animation I've never seen anything like it before. There's literally nothing like it. It's better than any movie animation I've seen. And it was really awesome to read that, although, again, it cost $250 million to make, and this show did not make a profit. It lost Riot Games, the business, money. But the one thing that I really loved is one of the guys at Riot, one of the guys at the top talked about how they didn't make the show to make profit. They didn't make, Arcane to make money to put into League of Legends. They run League of Legends and make money off League of Legends to make these amazing art projects like this. And
pretty cool for art. That's kind of a great business strategy. Not actually, it's a terrible business strategy, actually, but it's a great thing to do in terms of the consumer, and just delivering something great for the sake of delivering something great is pretty awesome and kind of rare. Yes. Sometimes, not always. Like, you see a lot of independent movies that are unbelievable every year, but this is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't recommend it enough. You don't need, again, I never really played League of Legends. I'm not familiar with the lore. My fiance definitely never played League of Legends and does not care much about video games in general, really. Like, she'll indulge me and stuff, but she absolutely loved it. And this is just a phenomenal story. If you like, good political dramas, great characters, amazing voice acting, beautiful animation, I cannot recommend this show enough. I think it has something for everyone. And yeah, it is, in my opinion, the best show that I watched of 2024. And one of the best things I've watched, period.
I might have talked to you about this briefly. We were at a dinner recently, but we both listened to a great podcast called Sacred Symbols, PlayStation podcast, which I love. It's a great podcast. But the guys on the show, they were talking about the video game awards, and they were talking about the winner of best adaptation, best movie TV adaptation, and Fallout won. And then they said, of course, Fallout won. What else could have won?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I haven't seen Arcane season 2 yet, but it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and there's no doubt that it's brilliant. And I'm very excited to jump into it as well. That show, it did 3 episodes again, like
correct,
the first season. Yeah,
yes.
Right, cool. That's a new Netflix approach. I don't think they've done that for too many TV series, but I think they're doing that to kind of see how they drum up the hype of trying to spreading things out.
Yeah, they do that with reality shows, ironically enough. They do that with like Love is Blind or The Ultimatum, like shit like that. Right. So it was interesting that they did that for Arcane.
Yeah. It's cool. I don't know. I think I've said this many times, I'm pretty sure, on Split Focus, a film and TV podcast, like the first 100 episodes, but I've said, like, I don't like week to week. I just hate it. The spread out nature of it. So waiting for the 3 episodes to keep launching, that's a good compromise, I feel like. But the week to week for Shrinking is the reason why I haven't finished Shrinking. I love Shrinking too, and I probably would have watched it earlier had it already kind of finished, but I didn't want to watch week to week, so I jumped into other shows in between, and that's why I'm kind of behind. That's also why I'm behind on Arcane season 2, but I'm super excited to get into it, and I'm glad that you like it, because it gives me a good badge of Adrian's approval for me to.
It is true.
Use as a, I don't know, encouragement, I guess. Anyway, Adrian, my first pick is one that you've definitely watched, and I know you probably will not have picked for this list, but we did talk about it earlier, so I'm not going to go over it too much. The Penguin TV series from HBO. Excellent. Just really great. We talked about it earlier. I talked about how creator Lauren LaFranc did a great job Colin Farrell is unrecognizable, as you mentioned. The makeup team did an amazing job. Colin Farrell's speech actually at the Golden Globes, worth watching. Very humble. It was very cool. He actually gave credit to the craft service team, which I thought was awesome. Because the caterers. No, not the craft dinner. The caterers on site. The kind of, because they have to. How do you get food into that mask? I guess so. He had like a sippy cup of water or something like that, like ice water that some person from craft service would get him every once in a while, so that he wasn't like burning up inside the hot makeup, because that's a crazy process. But he was unrecognizable. It was amazing acting, but I was on the edge of my seat for every episode. I absolutely loved the relationship between Oz Cobb and that kid from the very beginning. I can't remember his name now, though. He's
Victor.
A huge character. Victor, thank you so much. But Victor is in it for the whole thing. That relationship throughout the entire show is amazing. And it ends amazingly too. I think the whole thing, how that relationship plays out in the entirety of the entire season of, 8 episodes, just great.
Seems
and I think that Kristen, is it
Milioti?
Miloti.
I think it's
You're
Kristen
probably
Milioti.
correct.
You're
probably correct. But she's excellent as well. She's in many different things as well, including a movie we both like, Palm Springs, with Andy Samberg. She's excellent there too, but she's so good in this. And again, it's so interesting how Matt Reeves' universe has kind of fleshed out here. The Bat Reeves-averse, as you affectionately call it. I love how they changed fundamentally the universe. They took huge characters from the DC canon in Gotham City and they completely tossed them away. I'll also say that for the Penguin, you could just not think it's a Batman thing at all. You don't have to be a comic book fan, and it would be great TV regardless of whether Batman is in it or not. And that's the beauty of it too. And there's another show I'm going to talk about a little later that actually has something similar to that as well. And I feel like that's the beauty of it. If you can create like an amazing TV series, and it could just shed the Gotham City aspect and just be taking place in like a grimier New York City or something like that, or Chicago, I think you've really hit gold. And that's the beauty of it. It's just it's kind of like a Sopranos-esque type of show that does just an excellent job, and you don't have to be a DC fan to like it. So I recommend it really to everyone, even if you're not a Batman fan. So that's my pick for number one.
Agreed completely. It's a great pick. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I kept on sitting there and I'm like, this is a fucking Batman show. Like,
crazy.
Yeah. I was like, this is a fucking Batman show. It's crazy. Brutal, man. Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, I guess my second choice for one of my favorite things that I watched last year was a movie, actually. A horror movie. But the type of horror that I fucking love. And it was the movie Cuckoo, starring Hunter Schafer. And it stars Hunter Schafer, Dan Stevens, and it's essentially, Hunter Schafer is a woman that like her, I think one of her family members died. She moves in with her dad in like a small kind of remote town away from home, and weird shit's going on in that town. But the balance between comedy and horror and just cool, this entire movie, how it plays out, is just, it's right up my alley. There was literally nothing I disliked about it. There's, I think it's in the trailer, but you see Hunter Schafer, and she has kind of like a broken arm and has like a cast on with like this metal thing with a gauze around her head and everything. And it's just, the aesthetic of this entire movie is just, it screams cool. And the way the movie itself plays out is awesome. There's a lot of twists and turns. One of the scariest scenes in a movie I've seen in a long time. And again, some of the funniest scenes I've seen in a movie in a long time as well, with very realistic reactions to what is happening. I think Hunter Schafer is the star of this. I really like Dan Stevens as well. I think Dan Stevens is a really good over actor. I feel like anytime he's in a movie, he's just like, I'm going 130%. Like every single thing he's in, he's just like, he is that character. He's over the top. I watched Abigail, and I think that's another prime example where he's just crazy and just over the top. Or the newest Godzilla and Kong movie. Like his character again, he's just
that was this year. That was in 2024. Maybe that's your third pick.
Oh no, it's not. I totally forgot that came out this year. That's crazy. It feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, he's like, I'm King Kong's vet. I'm King Kong's dentist, and I'm cool. Like I just think he does a really great job. But Cuckoo is a very unique and awesome horror movie that is not too scary, even though it does have like one of the scariest scenes in a movie I've seen in God knows how long. While balancing, again, great comedic timing and just phenomenal acting from all the parties involved. But again, Hunter Schafer, I think, specifically steals the show. She's amazing. Probably best known for her role in Euphoria.
Right.
But yeah, I can't recommend that enough.
Cool. Great pick. Great pick. Interestingly, in contrast to the show Platonic, this show is 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, but is certified fresh, but with a 59% popcorn meter score. So the critics they liked it, but the audience didn't love it. 1% less than hitting the fresh tomato. So it's interesting that you got the opposite here. It's cool. I will probably watch it in that you recommend it potentially if I've got the time at some point. It's just too much stuff, man. Too much stuff coming out. But maybe it is interesting. I'm looking at the old. I like the actual, what they call it. I'm losing my words
poster.
Now. It's been the poster, but I was coming up with a better word for it. Whatever. The movie poster. Fine. I'll just go with the basic bitch.
Oh my God.
Explanation. Anyway, I'm the only one swearing on this podcast. Look at this. We flipped roles.
That's crazy.
Normally you're the swearer. But anyway.
You can say bitch on CW though.
Yeah, it's true. If you can say it on the CW, you can say it here.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. My second pick is one of epic proportions. And maybe you can guess what it is. I think I know what yours. I can guess what yours is. When we get to your pick, if you remember, I'm going to try and guess it. If you're okay with that,
I am telling you right now, Simon. Oh, I just hit my microphone. I'm telling you right now, Simon. You will never guess it in a million years.
I'll try to guess it. I'm going to try, but we're going to get there. We don't want to. I don't want to spoil it too soon because I'm doing my pick. Patience, young Padawan.
I think I can guess yours based on what you just said, though.
Do it.
Can I guess?
Yes.
I think you're about to say Dune Part 2.
Correct. Ding, 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 ding. You did it. Now it's a competition. Anyway, Dune Part 2 was excellent. Denis Villeneuve killed it. Josh Brolin, Hans Zimmer, Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya. I mean, Javier Bardem was just a comedy genius in the best ways possible. It's so epic. It's so awesome. It's better than the first, I believe, like Dune Part 1, although it didn't seem to have that little second name, and it was kind of confusing for people. They thought, oh, this is Dune? What? How's it ended? Where's the rest of the story? At the end of the movie, I don't know if you remember that in theaters, that people didn't seem to know that the movie had ended. Like they're like, wait,
I feel like I didn't even know the movie ended. To be fair, I felt the same way with Dune Part 2 as well. Like when the movie ended, I was like, what the fuck? Because I never read the book. I didn't know how it plays out. So when it ends, where it ends, I'm like, wait, what?
It's more shocking the way the first one ends. It's a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But I thought it was amazing. I thought it did the book justice in the best ways possible. I really liked it. It was excellent. And I don't know if it's going to get much awards love, which is kind of crappy because I feel like it completely deserves it if Black Panther deserved it. Again, there's some strange stuff there. I hope as an Oscar potential, it does get nominated for Best Picture. I didn't notice that it was nominated for Best Drama at the Golden Globes, so maybe I missed it.
Think it did. It is nice though that this is, I think, like Denis Villeneuve's like first movie that actually hit big, like commercially, like doing well profit wise. Because like Blade Runner 2049, that was nominated for a bunch of awards, but did not make good money at the box office. Unfortunately, even though that's one of the greatest movies ever created.
I think it's excellent. Yeah, that's one of his best movies for sure. It's excellent.
It's my favorite movie of his. However, I still have yet to see Prisoners.
What do you think of Part 2? Did you like it?
I was a little soft on it. I'll be honest with you. I liked it.
Interesting.
I didn't really know what was happening fully. Like I feel like I was missing context. Maybe I didn't remember the first one well enough, but we were kind of like thrown into it, and the way it kind of plays out and how it ends, I felt unsatisfied. I'm like, wait, but like,
interesting.
And I didn't realize, like, because I went into it assuming, okay, cool, Dune's 2 parts, and I guess this is how the book ends. I'm assuming,
Yeah.
And it's like a big cliffhanger as well, or it feels like a cliffhanger. And I was kind of, I was left a little disappointed, honestly. And I was like, I want to know more. I know he is coming back for a third movie, apparently at some point in the future. We'll see how that plays out. But I feel like it ends at kind of the most interesting part, arguably.
He's working on Dune Messiah, so the next book in the series now as an adaptation for that. So he should do that, but I think he's working on something in between. So we'll see. There's that Dune. Did you watch the Dune HBO show at all?
No.
Dune Prophecy?
No, I don't. Yeah. I think you're right. It is Dune Prophecy. But yeah, like, no, I don't have really any interest in that. I like it, again, but I like Denis Villeneuve more than I like Dune. And
okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Interesting.
Have you watched it?
I have not.
Dude. Oh, yeah. I think it's still airing, so.
Yeah, this year is interesting for me, by the way. I should have prefaced our picks with this. I've watched a lot of TV series, I find, but I didn't watch a lot of relevant new movies. Like, so our picks here are only 2024 movies.
Correct.
I didn't watch as many new movies as I did old ones. I was catching up on movies like Jaws that I never saw, as an example, until this year, and movies like that. And so that's kind of, you'll notice most of my picks actually should be TV shows in this category. I thought you might pick Dune, but you didn't like it as much. We didn't see it together.
No.
But yeah. Okay, so here's my guess for your next pick. Ready?
Yes.
Long Legs.
No.
Oh, God. Really?
Yeah.
You picked
I didn't
Cuckoo
really like that movie.
I thought you would have picked Long Legs over Cuckoo. That's why I thought Long Legs.
No, it's a
Did
fair
you forget
guess.
Long Legs came out this year?
No, I really love Long Legs. It was in the running, but I think Cuckoo, for me, I liked Cuckoo better.
Okay, that's fair. All right.
I am excited for The Monkey or whatever. It's just coming out in like a month by Osgood Perkins, the guy that did Long Legs. He's right. His new movie's coming out in like a month. So I'm curious about that. But yeah, I really like Long Legs. It's great. But my third and final thing that I loved that came out in 2024, and again, you would have never guessed this. It is the movie My Old Ass, starring Aubrey Plaza.
Oh, okay.
It's amazing. I loved it. I love a good slice of life. You know, it's follows a young Aubrey Plaza, but it's not actually Aubrey Plaza. It's a different actress playing her. I don't, let me look it up. I feel bad not giving her credit. Maisie Stella. So, you know, she's like a young woman, 18 years old, 17 years old. She's actually living in the Muskokas in Canada. It takes place in Canada, funnily enough, this movie. And her parents own like a place on Muskoka Lake, and, you know, like a cranberry farm on Muskoka Lake. She helps out there, and she's, you know, getting ready. It's the summer before she leaves for school. And she goes, hangs out with her friends and does a bunch of mushrooms in the forest. And her future self comes and sees her, and that's Aubrey Plaza. And, you know, Aubrey Plaza is essentially giving her younger self advice as things are happening. You know, and one of the big pieces of advice is like, you're going to meet a guy named Chad. Stay away from Chad. Right. And, you know, when Chad gets introduced, it's essentially like, oh, like, is she going to follow her older person's advice, or is she not? Is she going to follow her heart? I just hit my microphone again. Sorry about that. But is she going to follow her heart? And
staying
that's
in the
kind
cut.
Yeah, you just leave it. Who the fuck cares? And that's kind of the premise of the movie. But again, it's a slice of life. It just takes place over the course of one summer before, you know, this woman goes to school. And I just really loved it. It hit me on like a very emotional level. It's heartfelt. Again, very funny. It made me tear up, made me cry, made me sob, honestly, in a weird way. And I think it's just a brilliantly done movie. And again, like I'm not a woman. I don't know the female experience, you know, a young teenage woman's experience, but it was, you know, interesting to see it play out. And it seemed very, you know, legitimate. It seemed very real. The way these characters are reacting to the situation, the family dynamic. I watched that with my fiance, and she absolutely loved the movie too. Maybe not as much as I did, but again, I think this movie was stellar and arguably, my number one choice for my favorite movie of the year of 2024.
Oh, did you do it in reverse order? You did 3, 2, 1?
I was just kind of listing it, to be fair.
Oh, okay, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing. I haven't been doing in order. Yeah, I've just been throwing them out there.
Yeah,
that's cool. I saw this on Amazon.
Yeah, that's where I watched it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's an MGM movie. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, speaking of that, actually, like, really tragic story about, this is really a downer from that, but I would probably watch this movie, but her husband died. Crazy. Aubrey Plaza.
Oh,
really sad.
Yeah, that's awful.
Rest in peace. Yeah, he's an indie, I think it's Jeff Baena is his name. Mm-hmm. He's like an indie film director. Speaking of downers, crazy how that fire is like spread across California too. Crazy.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, dude.
Feel really bad. Like, hopefully everyone is like, well, everyone that can be at this point can be okay. Cause I think 16 people died or something like that. It's really bad since the time of our recording.
Yeah. Again, didn't State Farm fucking cancel a bunch of people's fire insurance while this shit's raging on as well?
Beforehand. Yeah.
Just before. Piece of shit, man. Fuck. Insurance is the biggest scam, man.
Yeah, it's based on calculations of risk. It's tragic regardless, not to justify it whatsoever. It's really tragic, and I feel really bad for all the families that lost their homes. It's crazy. Yeah. It's nuts. It's like, I don't know if they're going to move back. Like, it's nuts. Anyway, this is off topic. This isn't the topic of the show.
No.
But anyway, yeah, I do feel really bad for that, and I don't know, like, thoughts and prayers, I guess, are with the families. It's so cheesy. Thoughts and prayers.
It's like BoJack Horseman.
Cheesy, but
I always think it's just BoJack Horseman, like the mall shootings, and it's like thoughts and prayers.
All right. Great show, BoJack Horseman. So next pick is BoJack Horseman.
Oh my God, dude! No way.
I only watched it now. No, I'm kidding. It has to be a 2024 pick. My next pick, I am going between 2, and actually 3. I could pick any of these 3, honestly. I don't really know. I kind of hoped you would pick one of these so I didn't have controversy. But
you can say them all. You know what?
I like your off-the-wall picks. I love them. I love your picks, okay? I'm going to say them all just as like a run-through of all the movies that I kind of, and TV shows that I was kind of inspired by and loved this year, potentially, just quickly at the end. But I'm going to pick because I think it's controversial and I think it's very interesting and it surprised me in a huge way. It's a little cheesy, because it's a second of a comic book thing. It's the second comic book of the 3 picks I'm picking, I should say. And it's Agatha All Along, which might be surprising. And that surprised me. And the reason why I picked it, I know it's so surprising, you're choking on your water. But the reason why I'm picking it is because I feel like it almost even redeems WandaVision in some way. It's creator Jack Schaefer's second shot at this kind of Marvel show. Did you watch Agatha All Along?
No. I don't have Disney Plus anymore. I used your Disney Plus and they did the password sharing thing.
Right.
So
yeah.
Not sure if I would have watched it anyways, to be honest with you.
I gotta tell you, worth watching. Crazy is probably one of the best Marvel shows. I think Loki's still the best. But this one completely surprised me, and I didn't trust. This is what I was saying earlier. Should I have trusted the creator of Squid Game to take it all home in season 3, when season 2 kind of did some weird plot convenience things that I didn't love? In the beginning of this show, the first 3 episodes, I didn't trust Jack Schaefer at all. She made choices that I thought, no, I don't think this is going to turn out well. It's going to be a WandaVision again. She does these red herrings in WandaVision that piss me off to the maximum, and I don't think WandaVision's a good show in the end. It's bad. It starts amazing. Yeah. The style of it's great. The actual design and build quality of the show, production quality, amazing. But the actual show in the end is just bad. This is the opposite of that. It starts actually, I felt like there's red herrings, but in the end, she just twists and turns and completely makes it way more satisfying than any red herrings that she ever leads with. And I think that that's amazing. She did a great job. I think that, I think it's great. This is it's a strange pick, But I like this idea of it being more off the wall, and that it's not the greatest show of the year. I think Shogun's probably the greatest show of the year, as proven by its 18 Emmy awards. And I think once I finish Shogun and even Shrinking, which I'm watching simultaneously right now, I think that I would have probably picked both of those shows over Agatha all along. But I don't care. I pick it because I love the redemption story of Jack Schaefer. In my mind, I'm sure people loved WandaVision.
Yeah,
but anyway. That's my last pick there. And
nice.
I'm just going to give you my honorable mentions really quick. I'm going to run them off.
Please do. I would love to hear them.
The two I thought were going to get picked, and I thought you were going to pick it. One was Inside Out 2. Excellent sequel.
I haven't watched it.
Amazing. Not as good as Inside Out, but still very good. Definitely worth watching. Really liked it.
Yeah, I got to watch that. That's on my list. I got to just be in the mood to cry.
Yeah, that's fair. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Pixar's back at it, back in fighting form. Excellent. A Man on the Inside I had here too. I know you said you didn't love it. I think Mike Schur, though, doesn't miss. I think he did a great job. Another thing that I have as an honorable mention, but I wouldn't have picked it as my top 3 at all. I just think that it deserves the mention because it was completely lambasted online, just ripped apart for nothing. The Acolyte, I think, was way better than people think. And Rotten Tomatoes rated it above an 80%, and I think that's where it should probably lie. Honestly, it's not bad. It's not a 90 by any stretch of the imagination. It isn't excellent, but it's the first of potentially many seasons, and some of the lightsaber fights in it are great. Lee Jung-jae from Squid Game, excellent in it. Do I recommend it? Probably not, because they canceled it, which is so stupid. But it cost them too much money to make. The problem is that it kind of lands on a cliffhanger, so I can't. It's hard for me to recommend. It's like Awake, the show Awake. We love that show with Jason Isaacs. Great show. They knew they were getting canceled, and they ended it in a way that's completely satisfying, and it's just a great show. There's only one season. They got canceled, but it doesn't matter because it ended on a high note. Very good. Anyway, The Acolyte. I recommend it if you really like Star Wars, but if you don't really like Star Wars, it's hard just because of, obviously, you're canceled. Shrinking, obviously. Shogun, I mentioned. Fallout was great. It did win the Video Game Awards Best Adaptation. You didn't like Fallout? You watched it?
It was all right. I don't think it's great. I thought it was good. Like, it was enjoyable. I thought
it was excellent. I think Walton Goggins is incredible.
He's awesome. Ella Purnell is great. Ella Purnell also is in Arcane. She's Jinx in Arcane.
She would have won regardless, I guess, at the Video Game Awards for Best Adaptation. She would have won for Arcane, which she did. She didn't, sorry, or she would have won for Fallout. So she was on stage for either of the two, and she was on stage for Fallout. The other one that's really good, also I think underrated in that people didn't seem to watch it because Warner Brothers didn't seem to market it. Pretty dumb. Juror Number 2.
I heard really good things. I didn't watch it.
Excellent. I almost picked that as my third pick, honestly. That was really close in the running, too. Very good. Clint Eastwood killed it again. Clint Eastwood's, 93 years old? He created a movie that's one of the best of the year. So good. And this is the year of, what's his name? Dude from Nosferatu. He's the
Nicholas Hoult.
Nicholas Hoult. Thank you so much. Also, Did
you say he's a beast?
Or he's the beast. He's a beast as well. Yeah. But he's the beast. And he's the boy in About a Boy, which I didn't realize until way too late. What a fool I was. Anyway.
He's also in Skins, the hit TV series Skins.
Yes. He was excellent in this, and that cast is awesome too. So that's an excellent movie. Clint Eastwood killed it. Also, thought you might guess this instead because we watched it together in theaters versus Dune 2. George Miller's Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
That was good.
Amazing. But not quite in my running, unfortunately. It just wasn't quite as good as Fury Road. What We Do in the Shadows is done, Adrian.
I gotta watch
Finally done. It's season 6. Is the last season. Definitely worth seeing. I know you love the movie. You'd love the show. You'd love it. It's great. It's an excellent, definitely worth watching. The cast of characters is crazy. You love this movie, right? Taika Waititi's What We Do in the Shadows. Yes.
Yeah, I love it. That's one of my favorite comedies.
Yeah. So what the heck? Why didn't you watch the show? What's going on?
I don't know.
No time. Too much The Bachelor.
Not enough time.
It's true. And Only Murders in the Building kills it every season. They did great this year as well.
What season are they on? 4?
This was season 4. I'm getting a little
damn. I'm 2 seasons behind. Season 1 and 2 are awesome. But yeah, I gotta get back.
Then you got a treat because season 3 is really good. It is season 4. And now I'm remembering what season 3 was. So season 3's got good old Paul Rudd in it. They teased that in season 2. So that's really cool too. The cast is crazy in this show.
Is it Meryl Streep in that fucking show?
Yeah. Meryl Streep is in it in season 3. So that
Crazy.
I don't know why I said Paul Rudd, not Meryl Streep. I didn't want to spoil it because, well, I guess it was announced.
Oh, yeah.
But Paul Rudd was teased, so that's why.
Meryl Streep's overrated, though.
Instead of legendary actor Meryl Streep. Yeah. Yeah. She's, according to some people, she's overrated. Yeah. Some specific, very powerful people. But anyway,
I didn't realize you're going to have so many honorable mentions.
I just did that because I couldn't decide. I almost put Juror number 2 in there because I thought it was more off the wall and nobody had seen it, and I think it's excellent. And it's such a deliberate movie. Clint Eastwood clearly knew exactly what he was doing across every shot and the whole story. It's such an interesting twists and turns, and it's almost just an ordinary movie. It's not a movie that's like very flashy or like that's probably why it didn't get marketed too well. Was it why it wasn't in theaters so long? But it was definitely worth a watch. It's on Crave if you're interested because it's in HBO.
Okay,
not HBO, but it's
watch
Warner Brothers.
It seems very interesting. But yeah, a cool premise.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's not doing anything crazy. It's not an action movie, but it's super interesting, and the cast is fantastic. So anyway, I'll throw it back to you for your picks, your most anticipated 2025 picks, Adrian.
Well, Dan, before I get in that, I want to do a couple honorable mentions then.
Oh, do it.
I didn't realize.
Sorry, I don't want to steal your
thunder. That's crazy. You had so many. So I'll keep it brief. I won't talk about it too long. Longlegs we talked about, definitely an honorable mention. Loved that movie. I thought that was really, really, really good. The other one that I absolutely adored that came out this year, actually 2 of these movies I really adored, starring the same actress, funnily enough, one of which was Alien Romulus, starring Kaylee Spaney.
Yeah,
that was amazing. Awesome return to form for the Alien franchise. Fede Alvarez is a phenomenal director. Love it. I think he did an amazing job with this. I played the video game Alien Isolation just before this movie came out.
Nice. And cross media,
dude. And he very clearly took a lot of inspiration from that video game and brought it into the movie, which I loved. And the other movie that Kaylee Spaney starred in, Alex Garland's Civil War. Which
excellent movie. Good call. Why isn't that on my list? What the heck?
I don't know. I'm shocked that it wasn't on your list.
Yeah, no, that deserved to be on there for sure. How did I miss that? There's a lot of movies that felt like they were 2 years ago, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought The Killer, like David Fincher's The Killer, I thought it came out last year, but it was 2023. I was like, how is it that, anyway, it got turned around a little bit. But yeah, such a good movie. So good. Yes. That's really anxiety inducing, that movie, Civil War. Mm-hmm. So crazy. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, that's, I guess a couple quick mentions. Netflix released the movie Hitman starring Glenn Powell. Loved that movie. Loved Glenn Powell.
It was good. I watched it.
Huge man crush on Glenn Powell. Huge man crush. I'll be honest with you.
Wow.
It's been a while since I've had a man crush, but I'm into him. He has such good chemistry with everyone. I feel like I'd have really good chemistry with him. Genuinely. Not even joking. This isn't even a bit. Okay. So cool. Loved that. And then Maxine, the final movie in the X trilogy. X, Pearl, and Maxine. I thought it was really good ending to that trilogy. Really loved it. Ty West did an awesome job.
Good man. All right. Yeah. That's awesome.
And those are my honorable mentions, Simon. So again, kept it brief there. But most anticipated. Is that where we're on?
It is indeed. Most anticipated movies of 2025 or a TV series. Sorry, I don't know why I keep forgetting one or the other. Go on.
Yeah. So for me, I pretty much exclusively did movies. I'll be honest, because I have 3. There's a bunch of TV series that are on the list, but again, I just wanted to do 3. And the first one, probably very obvious. You probably would have been able to guess this. It's Paddington in Peru, baby. Paddington in Peru. Cannot wait for Paddington in Peru. I know it's a different director, but the reviews seem very positive still. Paddington is adorable. He's this heartfelt, cute little bear man that just loves marmalade, has a cute little hat on and a cute little rain jacket on. He just gets into mischief. I just love him. I love him so much. Paddington 2 is one of the great movies. If you don't believe me, believe Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal. And
what movie was that? What's that called? That movie,
Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah, that's a great movie. I like that movie.
That
was 2023, right? 2022,
I think so.
Maybe.
Probably. I don't know. It was a year. was definitely
excellent. Yeah, they mentioned that. I was shocked when they mentioned that. Did we see that together? I think so.
I think so. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
When they mentioned that, I think we both looked at each other like, oh, Paddington 2.
Yeah. Which is just fantastic. And I don't think Paddington in Peru is going to be as good as Paddington 2. Or maybe not even as good as the first one, but I'm sure it's going to be great. And I'm sure I'm going to have nice feelings in my tummy watching it.
Well, that was the thing. I think I sent you like the Rotten Tomatoes score. It was 93% or something like that on Rotten Tomatoes. And I was like, wow, what a failure. Because Paddington 2 had notoriously been 100% for years. Actually, somebody reviewed it. Did you see? I think we talked about this. Somebody reviewed it negatively, and now it's a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. Some dick critic.
A piece of shit.
He just had to stand out from the crowd, you know? Because everyone's going to read his review, obviously, because he's the only one who gave it a
negative score.
Yeah.
Absurd. But yeah.
All right, buddy. It's my turn. Yeah, Paddington Peru is 93%. Paddington was 97. Paddington 2 on Rotten Tomatoes, 99%. Anyways, my first pick is also fairly soon. I don't have the date here like a dummy. I believe it comes out in February. Mickey 17, Adrian, Parasite director, Bong Joon-ho's movie, a science fiction movie based on a book by Edward Ashton, starring Robert Pattinson, who plays Mickey 17, who's this cloned man who goes on the most dangerous missions that they could possibly send anyone on in space. So he's doing like crazy missions, and then he dies many times, presumably based on the trailer. It looks amazing. Bong Joon-ho is the Parasite director who won Best Picture for Parasite. So I mean, what more is there to say? And honestly, Robert Pattinson is having like a serious Patton renaissance. So since Twilight, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every movie he's in, he's excellent in. I feel like he's just getting bigger and bigger. I feel like, especially having been in the Batman on a mainstream level again after Twilight, but in all the crazy things like The Lighthouse and
Tenet.
I mean, just Tenet, so good. That's a blockbuster
Tenet?
Too. Yeah, one of those. Nice callback to episode something or other, probably 40 or something of Split Focus, a film and TV podcast. But yeah, Bong Joon-ho, Mickey 17, I'm in. Want to go with me to that one? I'm asking you right now. I'm in. I'm in on that one.
I'm in.
So
I'm in.
That's my first pick.
Just a quick correction for you. Looking online, it says that it's releasing April 18th in Canada.
Oh, what the heck? Why did I see that?
I think it was delayed. I remember it saying that it was delayed. But looking online, it's also saying March 7th in the States.
Oh.
So
okay. None of those dates that I have on my thought process here. Why didn't I put the date in? So silly. I
didn't mention Paddington Peru's date, but it's like February 14th or some shit.
That one's soon too. That one will be good. Yeah, cool, man.
Awesome. The next one up for me, I guess let me get the date ready then at the very least.
Okay, while you get the date ready, I'm just going to say about Paddington. Interestingly, I think we might have talked about this, or you might have said something about this, but Paul King's not directing it like the first two movies. And that's the trick. And that's why we thought maybe it might not get the good review scores that we hoped for. But I thought it was a different guy, but it's Dougal Wilson. Do you know that guy?
Never met the man, no.
I didn't. I thought it was someone else. Didn't we know that it was someone else?
Maybe.
I'm confused. I thought we knew it was maybe. Wait, was it supposed to be Paul King? And Paul King wasn't the director for.
And they did Wonka.
No, Paul King did Wonka. No, we just didn't. Maybe I just didn't know who the director was. But he did a good job because he got 93%. So good for him.
Yeah, Dougal seems like a guy that would direct a Paddington movie.
He's perfect. Honestly, he was born for it. Arguably. But okay, cool. What'd you get for the old
number 2?
There? Oh no, number 2. Oh, that's what you're looking at, the date.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, should I get Paddington and Peru's date?
No, don't worry about that. Sir, just give me the number 2 with the date.
Sorry, no, I'm in it. It's February something. February 14th. I was right.
Good man.
So my number 2 most anticipated movie. It's been a long time coming for this one. 28 years later, baby. Directed by Danny
this is one of my
Boyle.
picks. We actually coincide on the picks.
Oh, damn.
Yes. Good man.
Damn.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, 28 years later, I cannot wait. I think it's the first blockbuster movie that is entirely shot on iPhone, which is pretty
Whoa,
weird
I
and
didn't read
interesting.
that. That's cool.
Yeah. Again, directed by Danny Boyle, so he's coming back. He directed 28 Days Later. Alex
Right.
Garland is writing this one.
Which is wild because he's doing
It's
his own
off.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So I'm really happy about that. He wrote the first movie as well. So
Right.
it's cool that these guys are back together again.
That's the coolest part.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see where this is going to go. 28 years later, feels like 28 years since 28 Days Later. So I'm very curious how they're going to, do the story. I don't know what the premise is. I watched that first trailer, amazing trailer, didn't reveal anything. I'm going into this movie ideally as blind as possible, apart from that first trailer. That's a day one, and that is releasing apparently June 20th in Canada. So
yeah, I have that down here too.
Yeah, that is something I cannot wait for. Cannot wait. You want to come to that one with me?
Yes.
I'm formally invited you. I'm formally.
Yeah, those guys, like, it's cool because Alex Garland went away. He directed and wrote so many other movies like Annihilation and Civil War and Ex Machina. So good. All of these movies, I love them all. Oh, Men. Oh, Men. Crazy. He's creepy as shit. So good. So good. And so then Danny Boyle's obviously done a bunch of things after that too. He won an Oscar for Slumdog Millionaire as an example. And I think my favorite movie that he's made that I've seen is actually Steve Jobs, strangely enough. I think that movie is kind of underrated because it kind of fell into the background with the other Jobs movie with Ashton Kutcher. This is the one with Michael Fassbender. Mm-hmm. And so I really love that movie in the way that it's done. That's a movie written by Aaron Sorkin too. So the Aaron Sorkin-Danny Boyle combination, excellent. So I think that the idea of those guys coming together to do this, and then it's got Aaron Taylor Johnson, and apparently Cillian Murphy's not in it though. Did you hear that? Recently, which I thought he was.
I don't know. I'm okay with him not being in it. Like he's not in 28 Weeks Later. To be fair, 28 Weeks Later isn't particularly a great movie, except for that opening scene, which is fucking
I didn't see
nuts.
it actually.
It's great. The opening scene is phenomenal, but then the rest of the movie is kind of like eh. Okay. But yeah, I wasn't expecting him to really come back. I mean, especially it's 28 years later. Like what? Like he's just been, just show him and he's like, I'm still alive. I'm still Cillian Murphy. I don't need that. I'm just curious what these guys are going to do. If he does show up, cool. But I don't think it's mandatory for my enjoyment of this film.
You think they're pulling in Andrew Garfield? Yeah,
maybe.
Call back to the front of the show, baby.
Yeah. Watcha. Yeah.
All right, buddy. My next pick. This is a doozy. This is probably my most anticipated thing of the year. Probably. We'll see. Can you guess it? You can't guess it. You're going to guess the wrong thing if you can guess. You try to guess. I dare you.
Oh my God.
It's kind of fun. It's fun. You got 3 seconds.
Ooh. Mission Impossible Final Reckoning.
Good guess on the honorable mentions, but not in the overall thing. Good guess, though. I like that. Andor Season 2.
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars Andor. So good, man. So good. Have you watched the first season yet?
No.
Okay.
I'll get
This is like one of the 2 seasons. Like I recommended Severance to you many times, and I recommended Andor many times. I cannot stress enough. Andor is so good. It's crazy. It's excellent in every way. I very much recommend it to any Star Wars fan, but I honestly recommend it to any TV show fan. And that's the show I was talking about earlier when I was talking about The Penguin. You don't need to be a fan of the DC universe to want to watch The Penguin. If you like the idea of crime dramas, you don't have to be a fan of Star Wars to be a fan of Andor. Andor is just an excellent science fiction story. It's done so well. The acting is so good. Diego Luna's kills it. Tony Gilroy came back from, of course, Rogue One.
The dead.
Not the dead. He's okay. He's alive and well, from my understanding. But Tony Gilroy came back from trying to fix Rogue One, and he was tapped to showrun this TV series. It's so good. Andy Serkis is also amazing in it as well. I cannot stress enough how good it is. It's excellent. If I'm going to recommend one show to you in general, I'm curious. Like, I find that we recommend things to each other, games and movies and TV shows so often that it's impossible to keep track. And I'm sure you get recommended from other people. It's impossible to even keep up because there's just too much stuff. This is the one thing I recommend to you. That's it. Okay. I'm going to pick one thing until you watch it, and if you don't watch it, I'll never recommend anything. That's the rule I'm going to live on for Split Focus, a Film and TV podcast. So I just won't recommend it. I'm not going to not recommend it. I'm going to recommend it largely. You're going to hear my recommendations largely because we're going to talk about things that you've seen. You're going to talk about things you've seen. You're going to recommend them. I'm going to talk about things I recommend. I will, but I'm not going to recommend it necessarily to you directly. I'm recommending it directly to you. That's my thing. I think that's kind of fun. Maybe you can pick something for me that I'll like, and we can kind of go from there. But we'll do that another day.
Attack on Titan.
Are you serious?
Watch that fucking show.
How many seasons is that? 3?
It's 4.
4 seasons. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
good from the start. It's good from the start.
This is also going to come off as controversial, and/or probably is my favorite Star Wars thing out of all the things, all of the options. Empire Strikes Back is very much in contention. Empire Strikes Back is excellent. Maybe it's number 1 and this is number 2. It's hard to know. Depends on the day.
No, that's fair. I'm sure I would love it. Depending on the day, gun to my head, I might say Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars thing. So
what the heck then? It's perfect.
Yeah. I gotta watch it. Watch. I've just not been in the mood for Star Wars for a while. Maybe I'll line it up and I'll play that Star Wars Jedi Survivor at some point, and then I'll watch it. Cross media.
It's more similar to Outlaws, but yeah, sure. Star Wars Outlaws.
I'm not gonna play Outlaws anytime soon.
Oh, really interesting.
Maybe one day.
I like Outlaws better than Survivor personally, but
I just don't really care for Ubisoft style games.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Except for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, for which I played for like 100 hours for whatever reason at some point in my life.
I think you'd like Shadows that's coming up, but we're not a video game podcast, so let's move on to your next pick, Adrian. I'm going to guess something. I don't know if I can even guess it.
Please. I'm curious. I feel like
I have no idea, actually. I'm looking at my list thinking, well, my guess might have been Mission Impossible, but I don't think you're going to pick that for me. And so I'm going to think no. I'm going to think maybe you would pick Superman Legacy.
No,
maybe.
No, okay. Simon.
I bet you're going to say it. You're going to say it, and I'm going to be shocked. I'm going to be like, oh, I'm such an idiot. I'm not going to be shocked.
You are going to feel
I have
like
one
an
other
idiot.
guess, but I don't think it's going to to pick you because you said it wasn't a movie. So it was only a movie, not a TV show. So it can't be this next pick. I thought maybe it could be Stranger Things season 5, which I almost picked.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's going to be good. Come on. It's the final season. Oh, yeah. Anyway,
Hopefully
what's your pick?
It is Jurassic World Rebirth, baby.
Oh,
bring me the dinosaurs, baby. I love it. I will watch these movies until the end of time. There's not enough dinosaur media.
Yeah.
There's not enough dinosaur franchises. We got Scarlett Johansson in this now.
Yes.
She's dinosauring about.
Right.
I can't wait. I don't even know what the fuck this movie's about. I don't care. As long as there's dinosaurs killing people. I've told you this many a time, Simon.
Yeah.
Many a times. That's all I need in these movies.
Okay.
Do I think they're all equally as great from a story perspective?
The last one was poor.
Dominion?
Yeah.
It was fun. Dinosaurs killing people, dude.
But they brought the cast back in such a lopsided, weird ass way. Like they could have just done it. No, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. I still loved it though, and I love these movies, and I'm gonna watch them until the end of time. I love dinosaurs. I just want to see dinosaurs killing people.
I will always be day one on Jurassic Park World or whatever they're called. Eventually, Jurassic Universe, because my fiance is a diehard fan, so I'll always see that day one in theaters. I'm pretty sure, unless she just decides that she doesn't like it. But she rewatches these on the quarterly, pretty much.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'll be there. I'll be there. Yeah, the one I'm surprised you didn't pick. I got to be honest, and I'm not picking it for my third pick because I'm going to go for another off the wall pick for fun. There's actually 2 that I'm surprised. Severance season 2, which I can't be more hyped about. But most importantly, Adrian, you didn't pick The Last of Us season 2, and that's what's shocking. Yeah,
I'm very excited. I think that's it's one of those, like, it's obvious, and I thought maybe you would bring up Severance, and maybe Last of Us. I can't wait. Like, The Last of Us, I can't wait. Severance, I mean, we'll yeah, not to jump ahead, but yeah, it's soon. I can't wait.
The trick here with the picks is that there's so much amazing stuff coming out this year that it's impossible for me to pick anything. It's just crazy. 3 picks is insanity because to me, even if you look at Marvel, which I'm not picking anything from Marvel for this pick here, but Captain America, Brave New World, The Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four, which I mentioned, and Daredevil, that's a really interesting potential for them to return to serious form. Also, I'm liking Harrison Ford even more post Shrinking, and so seeing him in the trailer for Captain America: Brave New World, I'm super hyped about that, and I think that's the first one to launch this year. So it's exciting. There's a lot coming out. But the last pick is going to be one that you might never have even heard of, which I like, and this is a TV series on Netflix called Black Rabbit. You don't know.
Yeah, never heard
I like that.
No.
Okay, so I want to tell you about this one. So this one I know about because of the podcast Smartless with Jason Bateman. And the reason I mentioned that is because it's Jason Bateman's next directing gig for Netflix. So I feel like a spiritual successor, and probably it takes all the learnings that Jason Bateman had learned from Ozark, which he directed many episodes of and produced that show. And I think he's brought it into Black Rabbit. And this is kind of the tagline here. When the owner of a New York City hotspot allows his turbulent brother back into his life, he opens the door to escalating dangers that threaten to bring down everything he's built.
I'm in.
Go.
I'll watch it.
And this is the writer of King Richard. Showrunning this is Zach Balin, which King Richard was nominated for, I think, pretty sure best screenplay. So it's very excited. And it stars Jason Bateman and Jude Law, and Jason Bateman is the turbulent brother, apparently. So that's even more interesting. So he's in it as well, and he's directing it. This is something he keeps mentioning on the podcast, and how like the other two guys, like Will Arnett and Sean Hayes, keep mentioning how they've seen cuts of it and it looks amazing. And they like Ozark, and I'm like, I'm in. So I picked this because it's more off the wall. I don't think a lot of people know about it because it's not super marketed yet by Netflix. It's supposed to come out in the first half of 2025, apparently. So we will see if that happens.
Nice.
I'm going to let you go through your honorable mentions if you have them prepped. Otherwise, I'm going to go through a few, and then I'll let you jump in. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll keep it brief. I mean, we already talked about 3 of these. Severance, can't wait for. Last of Us, cannot wait for. I'm very curious what they're gonna do.
It's crazy. That show's so good.
Yeah. From the trailer of season 2, it looks like they are going to follow the game quite closely. So I cannot wait to see how people react. I cannot wait. I'm stoked. Mission Impossible, very excited about it as well. Final Reckoning, possibly the last Mission Impossible movie. And another one that I'm quite looking forward to is Predator Badlands, actually, by Dan Trachtenberg. He did Prey, which was a fantastic movie.
Excellent.
So, I'm not huge into the Predator universe. I like Predator. I like Predators. I like Prey. So I'm excited about watching what he's going to do next in this universe. Seems cool. But that's really it.
I've seen Predator. And I've seen Prey. I prefer Prey. I think Prey is excellent. Oh, it's really good.
Oh, by far. Yeah. 100%. I think the first Predator it's good. It's a product of its time.
It's a bit campier though.
Yeah. I don't think it holds up as well as Alien as an example holds up.
Alien's so good. I just watched that this year. So I actually have caught up on almost every Alien movie except for Romulus. I didn't watch some of the newer ones. I watched a lot of the I didn't watch the latest Ridley Scott one. Alien.
It's not good. It's dumb.
After Prometheus, the one after Prometheus.
Yeah, Prometheus is good. I like Prometheus a lot.
And controversially, I prefer Alien over Aliens, which apparently is not a thing that a lot of people believe. James Cameron's Aliens, I much prefer Alien, like by a long margin.
I like them both. But
they're good though.
Alien is better.
It's good. That's what I was saying before. I was just catching up on movies. But anyway, my honorable mentions quickly. I said Stranger Things already. Mission Impossible. I agree with you. Daredevil. Very excited. 18 episodes. Oh my goodness. More Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio. Sign me up. Mike White's White Lotus season 3 on HBO. White Lotus. Great show. Awesome. Superman Legacy kicking off James Gunn's DC Universe in live action. sign me up. Again, did you watch Creature Commandos? I'm
Not
curious.
yet. No, I think it's done, or it's about to be done. So I'll watch it at some point.
Yeah. And then you picked 28 Days Later, 28 years later, which is very exciting as well. But yeah, that's it. Sweet. That's all, as you say, for the old most anticipated picks of 2025. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year to talk about TV shows and movies, Adrian. Now, onto a segment of our show that I like to call A Look to the Future. A portion of our podcast where each of us present our picks for the TV series or movies that look most interesting to us, that are releasing between January 14th and January 27th, 2025. Adrian?
That's 2 weeks.
This is going to be very similar to the actual segment we just ran, but it won't be that similar to anything next week or in the next 2 weeks when we launch the next episode. It's just coincidence. But the Look to the Future is a common segment that will continue on Split Focus, a Film and TV podcast. It's an iteration of what we used to call new releases, where you just wrote a bunch of blurbs about various new releases that were coming out, but they were only movies. This can be TV shows or movies, and we're each picking 3 picks potentially. So I'll let you go first. What is your first pick?
I mean, we've talked about this plenty of times. Severance, man. Severance is releasing January.
You saved it for this segment. I see what you did,
dude. I did. It's coming out January 17th. I just watched Severance season 1 like a month and a bit ago. That's kind of what kicked off my Apple TV Plus kick. Watched Severance, Shrinking, Platonic, and then now rewatching Ted Lasso. So, I think Apple TV knows what's up. The reviews for season 2 thus far are incredibly positive. I think it's still at 100% with 33 reviews. So the way season 1 ended was mind blowing. This is a show I am watching week to week, 100%. There's no way I'm gonna risk spoilers. There's no way I'm gonna be sitting there shaking in my boots, waiting for the, waiting. I'm gonna watch this week to week. I cannot wait. I think what they have done with this show, it's one of the best TV series of recent memory. Like, just like this one season that is phenomenal with an amazing cast. I love Adam Scott. Like, I think he's great in everything he's in. Ben Stiller's directing is unreal. I didn't realize he was such a skilled director. I can't fucking wait. I'm so curious. I haven't even watched the trailer. I'm just going into season 2. I'm so excited.
Excellent. That would have been my first pick. Very good.
Nice.
Yeah, very exciting. That releases January 17th. I think you said that already, right?
Yes.
Thank you. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's soon and very excited. I might break my rule about not watching week to week just so I can stay relevant and we can kind of just like bat ideas back and forth in terms of our opinions on that one. And that one, you're right. The spoilers could be pretty bad on that because when Severance launched initially a few years ago, nobody really knew about it. People didn't really watch that many Apple TV Plus shows. Now, since Ted Lasso especially blew up and everything like that, I feel like people are really watching these shows. And if you look at the Apple TV Plus, they've got a lineup on their feed. Like it's like a kind of across their feed. It shows you what people seem to be watching in your region or really just maybe worldwide. And the thing that keeps popping up is Severance season 1. So I'm like, all right, I think people are hyped. So it's very exciting. I've chosen an interesting couple picks here. The first one I'm going to start with is actually Silo season 2 finale, which I didn't watch any of Silo. So I have no idea if it's good, but I did pick it because Silo season 1, I did watch Silo, but I didn't watch season 2 because I've been waiting for the week to week to end so I could just jump in. It's the next drama I'm probably going to watch after Shogun. And so Silo season 1 is excellent. There's a society of people basically living in this giant silo and they can't go outside into the outside world. It's not legal to do that. And they live with their own politics and their own government and various, like, there's always these questions of how, like, for the audience of how they make food and how they live and what do they do with their waste and various things like that. How do they have children? How do they live in this kind of confined area? They can't go outside, so they can't make it. You can't have an unlimited children in this type of area. It is really good. It's excellent. Honestly, Apple TV Plus, we talked about how good it is on this episode of Split Focus. They're just great at science fiction. Science fiction stuff, they just nail so well. Severance, obviously. Silo. For All Mankind, amazing as well. People really like The Foundation. I haven't seen that yet either, but there's one I'm missing here, I'm pretty sure. One that's pretty obvious, but I think I'm forgetting it. Regardless of that, they really do have really... Dark Matter. Oh, that was one of my picks, by the way. I just completely skipped it. I just didn't mention it. Dark Matter, also amazing, and it's like a multiverse type story with Joel Edgerton.
Mm-hmm.
So he's so good in it. So good. I very much recommend it. I'd probably recommend Silo a little bit more. Rebecca Ferguson is the main character, main protagonist in the story. She's so good. Excellent show. I recommend it to people, not to you, because I recommended you, Andor. But anyway, that's my pick for my first pick for the week ending January 27th. What are you going with?
The next pick I got on my list, Simon, is also a January 17th release. It is Wolfman, directed by Lee Winnell, who came out with The Invisible Man. I'm very excited about this movie. Julie Gardner is in this one from Ozark, funnily enough. Callback. Right. I think Lee Winnell did something really special with The Invisible Man. I'm pretty much sold on anything he makes going forward, unless this movie's absolutely atrocious. From the trailers, it seems interesting. I think they're doing some really cool. Yeah. I mean, he's done a lot. Like he wrote the first Saw movie and a lot of stuff. Right. So I'm very excited about this. The trailer seems really cool. Just like kind of even what they showed with like the guy that's turning into the Wolfman, this weird, like him slowly turning, not understanding what his wife's saying to him. I think there's going to be some really cool shit that goes down in this movie. I'm very excited. That is, that's something that I want to see. That's cool. This Friday, if you want to go watch it this weekend.
Potentially.
Or early next week. They're doing $5 Tuesdays at Cineplex.
Oh, yeah.
For the month of the rest of January, early February. So if we want to go next Tuesday or some shit.
It would have to be Friday for me in that I'm actually going on vacation to Curacao.
What? That's crazy.
Which is a strange thing to throw into the a look to the future segment of our show. But anyway, I'm going to Curacao for a week and I'm going on Saturday. So that would mean that Friday would probably be the day. But I could also, if you could do it after that, if you could do it the week after, I'm in. I would do it. Okay. We saw Invisible Man together, but I just can't go that week because obviously I'm away.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't need to go. I can wait for you. I can't do Friday just because I'm working and I'm working hybrid starting this month, so I got to go to like my office in Toronto once a month, and I got to go this fucking Friday.
Fun. Dude, I'm so hour and a half drive. Delightful.
I'm gonna just take the train. I think the GO train. So
yeah, Toronto, the capital of Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
I said it really like an American there. I said Toronto for some reason.
Toronto.
Anyway, Toronto. That's how you prove that you're from there. Anyway, so my next pick is also a bit of a strange one because it's another finale. It's Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which is, I believe, also over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is really awesome. Its last episode airs on January 14th. I haven't watched this either, but I completely intend to watch it. It looks really interesting to me. I really intend to watch it, but I didn't watch it because of week to week. Again, I don't love week to week. I just like the idea of controlling my own pace of how I watch things. I don't like binging either, to be honest. I just like the balance of being able to choose. That's kind of the whole idea for anyone who really cares about why that is. But that's the real reason. But yeah, nice. Skeleton Crew looks really cool. It's supposed to be in the style of an Amblin movie from Spielberg, as an example, like E.T., which I think is really cool. And so I've intended to watch it. And I've been a fan of the Star Wars TV series largely. I don't think there's any that I didn't like. I'm trying to think. I think The Mandalorian season 3 was maybe the weakest. I'm trying to think if maybe I'm missing something, but
Obi-Wan? Do you like Obi-Wan all the way?
Oh, Obi-Wan, weakest. Oh, 100%. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the weakest one. Yeah, I did not like it. I think it was useless. It didn't need to exist. Although I love Ewan McGregor in that role.
Me too.
He's amazing, and he was good in it. In that show, it doesn't make it a good show, unfortunately. So it just didn't need to exist. But yep, that's it. Star Wars Skeleton Crew. All right, Adrian. Cool. Your third pick. Do you have any more picks?
I do indeed, my friend. And this one is arguably the most exciting thing that is coming out this entire year.
This is going to be a good one. I know it.
It is on January 27th. the season premiere of The Bachelor, baby. It's back. The
Unbelievable.
Bachelor.
Did you know? Because before we started the episode, I gave you a heads up that the timeline for the dates for the A Look to the Future segment was ending on January 27th. I feel like you didn't know that. Did you pick The Bachelor at the last second? Like, oh yes, The Bachelor qualifies for this. Did you do that? Or
I did. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah, I did. I'm not. The last season of The Bachelorette was okay. wasn't great. I think I was on a high of Vanderpump Rules, which is the greatest TV series of all time. It's just phenomenal, just an amazing reality show. The Bachelor this season, it's Grant from the last season of The Bachelorette. Of course. He didn't really stand out in any which way. It's Grant, but he didn't really stand out in any like meaningful way. I feel like they should have had better choices. He didn't even make it to like the final four. I don't think. I might be misremembering. I'll watch it. I hope it's good. The Bachelor's fun because it's like all the women, they love like causing like drama and just like talking shit. Like they're brutal. Like the women are so mean to each other a lot of the time. So I love watching that. Whereas The Bachelorette, it's like a bunch of dudes and like it's just like a lot of like toxic masculinity. Like bro, like, oh, you're here for the wrong reason. I mean, there's always someone that's like they're here for the wrong reasons.
Right.
But I'm excited. It's been a while. It's been a while since The Bachelorette. There was no Bachelor in Paradise last year to kind of.
Why?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Gasp.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So like it's been a while. Like to be fair, I did watch The Ultimatum season 3. So like, but it sucked. The Ultimatum was awful. Like it's not a good show. The Queer Love Ultimatum on Netflix, amazing, great reality TV. The Straight Ultimatum sucks. Shit.
Oh, that's
so
interesting.
not great.
Wouldn't have been this. It's not the same producers. What the heck?
I don't know. It's a different host. I also don't like Nick and Vanessa Lachey. I think Vanessa Lachey is a mean person. She comes off as rude. She's a bad host.
The host.
She's the host of The Ultimatum and Love Is Blind.
Gotcha.
But anyways, stoked for The Bachelor. I need a reality TV fix. It's been a while. I like watching these week to week. I just like talking shit. Hanging out with my fiance, we're watching it. I'm like, oh, this stupid fucking idiot, Just love commenting on people making dumb choices. It's trash, but it's delicious.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. I got 2 last picks. I'm just going to go with one here. I'm kind of confused which one I should pick. This is just a really cool idea for a TV show. It's on episode 2 as of January 16th.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I guess it would air the next episode after that. I should have probably put both dates. Anyway, whatever, because we're doing bi-weekly episodes. So regardless, learning experience for next episode. But regardless, for episode 1 and 2. But this is an interesting show, The Pit. Do you ever seen anything about this on HBO? Really cool idea for a TV show. It takes place. It's a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. First of all, it takes place in a hospital. And there's basically showing 15 hours across 15 episodes. So each episode is an hour in the hospital and it's showing like the chaos of like this
24.
Hospital. Kind of, but it's in a hospital.
So
I just thought it looked really
24.
good. Yeah. But it's also an HBO show, which ultimately Grey's Anatomy is cool, but it's getting a little bit long in the tooth. It's got a lot too many episodes and it's an ABC show. And so they got to stretch it. You know what I'm saying? And so this does look pretty cool. So that's kind of my last pick. The runner-up pick here was September 5th. I don't know if you saw any trailer for this, but it looks pretty good.
No.
It's a movie about a terrorist attack during the Olympic Games in Munich in 1972. And it's from the perspective of the ABC sports broadcasters covering the games.
Oh.
That's a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. That I maybe should have picked that instead of The Pit. Regardless, I said it anyway, so who cares? Anyway, so that's it. So so I thought you might pick September 5th if you saw that, but it's confusing because when I looked at September 5th, I thought that was the date it was releasing, not the actual movie. So
it's funny.
I skipped over it with my eyes initially.
Yeah, it's when I was looking at Cineplex, it like showed up September 5th. I'm like, but I read it as a release date to
right. That's what I did. Yeah.
Okay.
It does look pretty cool, actually. If I was going to watch a movie this week, Wolfman, actually, yeah. I had Wolfman on the list here too, but I was like, there's no way in hell Adrian doesn't pick Wolfman, so I just took it off. But it does look interesting because, again, Invisible Man was pretty good. But that's our episode. That's our format as well. The differing thing each episode is obviously going to be the topic of the show, which will change every episode. Longer episode than I anticipated. I think it might be longer than any episode we've ever launched, which is interesting, but we'll see how it goes because we recorded the A Closer Look in the middle of this as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But it was a pleasure talking to you again. I hope you had fun because I had fun. It was a lot of fun.
Me too.
To shoot the shit about this stuff. And I'm curious to see how your background changes as time goes on because you're moving, and so all of your stuff is all a tizzy back there. Curious to see if that sword, Jon Snow's sword, is going to be off the wall. Maybe very soon. We'll see. Who knows? What's that sword called again? The Shard?
Long Claw?
Long Claw. That's right. All right.
I almost said White Claw.
That would have been funnier. Oh, man. All right, buddy. It's late. It's 12:30 here in good old Canada, Ontario here. So I'm gonna sign off. It's the first sign off of the new year, the new boot here. So thank you for listening, everybody, to the 101st episode of Split Focus, a film and TV podcast. My name is Simon Eady, and this is Adrian Pinter signing off.
Take care and goodbye.
Cool.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.